I can hear you loud and
thank
clear.
goodness.
I've also been having, and we are not in the same place. We are
No.
hundreds and hundreds of miles away, but my laptop here has decided to have an absolute meltdown this afternoon, but I should be on the YouTube stream here in the next few minutes. So for those of you watching on YouTube, we'll get that rolling for you shortly. But aside from that, everything else, knock on wood, is working correctly, and I'm ready to go for a Thursday afternoon program.
That's right. The Padres are out in Mesa, Arizona, so Tony's going to join us when he gets back, and then we'll talk a little bit about the game. But so far today against the A's, I believe it's in the 8th inning, Padres are playing pretty well. I mean, Matt Waldron, we got to see a lot of the mainstay pitchers today in the game for the Padres. We got Matt Waldron starting, going 2 innings. You have Jeremiah Estrada, and you have Robert Suarez. Robert Suarez pitched an inning, gave up a hit, 2 strikeouts. Matt Waldron pitched 3 innings, gave up a hit, a walk, and 2 strikeouts, no runs. Estrada, 1 inning, 1 K, no hits, no walks. Now, Johnny Brito struggled a little bit, but he did end up coming back and in his 2nd inning, locking it down, giving up no hits. So Forrest Wall also with the 2nd homer in the last 2 games. So that's what's happened today, Sam. That's a lot. That's good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Forrest Wall making a name for himself and continues to play very well. I'll be honest with you, he's a guy that I have not really had a chance to speak with at length. So that's going to be on my list over the next few days, because he certainly has turned some heads, and he's somebody that Jackson Merrill even mentioned a little bit earlier this morning. And hey, that's what spring training is partially about. Guys getting opportunities to make a name for themselves and an opportunity to, even if they don't make the ball club, turn some heads and get your name out there if the team needs you a little bit later in the year. So Forrest Wall early on, I think, is a prime example of that. Somebody that I don't think a lot of us knew the name when spring training began, but certainly over the last few days, he's done some really nice things.
Yes, he has. He absolutely has. And we will be talking about him throughout the show, but I'm trying something new with the camera today, Sam, because my neck has been hurting from having to just look down at the camera the entire time. So Adam and I spent about a half hour today coming up with different options. So I feel very out of place, but I'm looking more at you now.
But what do you mean? What do you mean that why are you looking at me so much?
Okay, because when we're at a studio and I'm talking to you, to see you, normally I need to take my head and go down and to the right, and I'm not looking into the camera.
I see. So I'm actually, and I can control this from my laptop, I'm actually moving you to the left side of the screen since you're looking this way. Now, of course, if somehow I had a screen this way, it would kind of look like we're talking to each other, but
it's okay.
I don't have that technology, so this is about as good as we're gonna do. Me looking straight into the camera.
It was kind of funny because I asked Adam for help, and then he gives me all these suggestions, and I shot down every single suggestion that he gave me. But I'm trying the one suggestion I think will work by putting it on the Adobe computer so that I can watch. And I split screen things so I could see us on one side and my notes on the other side. And I'm feeling
now
good.
I will say one thing. If we're going to switch the sides here, you may want to switch the little lower third there.
No, it says Sam Levitt. I am not Sam Levitt
at some point, but it is what it is. We're not perfect. You'll note that I did get Dutch Bros again today.
You told me yesterday during the break you were going to stop getting Dutch Bros.
I know. Not only did I get Dutch Bros today, but this isn't even the 0 sugar version. This is a full sugar with a banana soft top Kokomo drink. I mean, this is a solid 400 to 450 calories in this cup right here. We're going all out, and you know what? Just is what it is. I was in that kind of mood. YOLO.
Yeah, I love it, Sam. We got so much to talk about today. We're also going to hear from a lot of the interviews that Ben and Woods did this morning. They had some heavy hitters on the show this morning. Jackson Merrill, Michael King, Manny Machado. We'll hear from them.
Yeah.
Also, Sammy Lev with Alek Jacob. We'll hear from that interview as well.
Yeah, they continue to do a great job, Ben and Woods, and I want to give them credit. I feel like really for 2 reasons they get a lot out of these guys, and the first reason is totally about them. And it is, they have a way about them to make these guys very comfortable. They're very friendly. The way they just make it very conversational. It's really a credit to them, the way they get these guys to open up anytime they come on. And also, I do think there's something too, maybe a little bit differently than what I do day to day, where I'm in the clubhouse a lot. Now I do pull guys out, we'll do one-on-ones, but it's just me. It's a little bit more formal, right? What I do in general tends to be a little bit more formal, right?
Yeah. It's more of a baseball interview because you're in the clubhouse, and that's what that's for that time.
Correct. So, but to get them out of the clubhouse, very, comfortably sitting at a table, mic in hand, it feels a little bit looser, I think, which adds to it. So for whatever reasons those are, they've done a great job.
Yeah.
These interviews have been great. Merrill was great today. I thought Manny was excellent today. Michael King was excellent today. Luis Suarez, we talked about it yesterday, was excellent. Really, really, really good stuff. And if you missed it this morning, I know it's early for a lot of you listening. We will, like Skraby said, replay a lot of that, and a lot of it's up on YouTube for whatever we don't play.
Yeah, 5:40, we're going to play Manny Machado with Ben Woods this morning, and Adam was telling me that he was very excited about the SDFC opening because he's a part owner of the team. So, and I even believe he said this morning that he's going to be at the game on Saturday here in San Diego. So that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's awesome. I got to see, I guess. Well, either he's not going to play in that game on Saturday. I with almost 100% certainty could tell you he's going to play tomorrow. So he's either not going to play on Saturday and get back there. But then I was thinking about it. I said to myself, even if he does play in a noon Pacific time game on Saturday,
done by 1:30,
a couple of at bats, he could be out of there by 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Get on that PJ, fly to San Diego.
I would assume. I would assume for this kind of trip, especially that's so quick and back and forth. Yes, I.
You don't think Manny's getting C-class Southwest? You don't think he forgot to check in?
No.
He's at bat. He's like, oh no, I didn't check in at Southwest.
So we'll see. I guess he could still play Saturday, but maybe not. And certainly could be on a flight at 3 o'clock, and he's there in plenty of time. The game's not till 7:30. So
now, what people don't know about some of these games is that when starters are done, they're done. They're out.
Yeah.
They don't even wait till the end of the game, which the first time I went there, I found very funny because I'm like, all throughout my sports playing career, as you always stay for your teammates in baseball, they're out.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It is a long season.
Yes.
So there is really no reason, especially early in spring training when these guys are getting a couple of at-bats and they're quite literally 5-6 innings left in these games. There is no reason for those guys to sit there in a hot dugout, in a crowded dugout, and just watch the game. So that's always been a baseball thing, rightfully so. It's a long year, when the year begins. So
but to go back to the point we were making is Manny could easily play in the game, get on a plane,
he could
make it here, get back.
Yeah, he's already played in back-to-back games. He had one already where he played third base one day and then he DH'd and got a couple of at-bats. So I don't know for sure, but I would imagine pretty good chance he plays third base tomorrow. Could he DH on Saturday? Maybe. He also may just not play on Saturday.
You don't really need to.
Look, I could see a scenario where if he's going to the game on Saturday, he's like, hey, I'll come in, get a little workout in.
Stretch.
I'm out of here by 11 a.m. Head back to San Diego. Do what he's got to do. I'm sure there's pomp and pageantry that's going to be going on for that match on Saturday night. So
let's
Manny is well within his right to do what he wants. It is it's February 27th.
He's already hit a home run. He's hit some balls hard. He's good. We're not worried about his production.
He looks ready. Whatever Manny wants to do, I'm fine.
Yeah, let's preview a couple for the next couple games. Tomorrow, Fernando Tatis Jr. is expected to make his Cactus League debut along with most of the regulars in the lineup. That game is going to be on 97.3 The Fan tomorrow night starting at 5:30, so you will be able to hear that. And then Dylan Cease is supposedly making his first spring start on Saturday.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be an interesting lineup, and I think the first lineup you may want to take a little stock in. Not totally, but I think there's a possibility that a lineup you see tomorrow could look something like an opening day lineup.
Why is that they're doing it like a weekend?
Well, it's not so much weekend versus weekday.
No, I'm saying a week in. Like they started
a week in.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, let me look at the lineup today before I talk out of turn. Luis Suarez was in the lineup, and that struck me as he was the only starter that went today. I quickly looked at the lineup today. Let me see here one more time.
Yeah, you're right.
It was only him.
Yeah, it was
so him. So number one, Arise, only starter. He DH today. He got 2 at-bats. So very good chance I would say that Luis plays tomorrow and plays the field based on that. The fact that nobody else played today and it's a home game on a Friday night, I would assume that pretty much everybody else is going to play. Tatis, Merrill, Bogarts, Crony. Who else is on this team?
Fernando.
Fernando.
Fernando hasn't made his debut yet, so I understand.
He is not, and that's the other reason why I think it's going to be pretty darn close to an opening day lineup, because Fernando's in all likelihood going to be in it. And Fernando was out there today doing a lot of different work, running, doing fly ball drills, hitting in the cage. So he kind of ramped up his activity today. So tomorrow it appears maybe you're going to see pretty close to an opening day type lineup, because Fernando will be back. Everybody aside from Arise didn't play today. It would appear to me pretty good chance to see everybody on Friday, which is great. And when I say take stock in the lineup, I just mean it by the order of the lineup. Again, no guarantee, but it's kind of the first time that Mike Shildt will have the opportunity, if he wants, to make a lineup how we might see on opening day, because I think there are some questions about how he may look at this lineup, who hits where, lefty-righty combination. So I'm sure that when Mike Shildt speaks with the media tomorrow afternoon before this night game, I'm sure, I don't know that I'll be the one that asks it, but I'm sure somebody will ask, is this a pretty good indication of what an opening day lineup could look like?
I get nervous
just asking. Who asked that.
I get nervous just thinking about it.
Maybe I will ask it,
okay,
because Cassavell isn't going to be there tomorrow. AC will. Maybe I will be the one to ask it.
All right,
you know what?
I'm going to stay tuned for that.
Maybe I just start.
I think you should
pre-game with Shildt tomorrow, right off the bat.
I think you should just be like, just jump in.
I asked exactly what I just said. So anyway, it'll be fun tomorrow. Yes. I always like the night games too, because we so rarely have them during spring training. It gives you a little bit of a different vibe. I think last year we had one night game, or the only night game, rained out. I don't think there's any rain in the forecast tomorrow.
Yeah. Was that the game you were going to call?
No. That was rained out too.
Prospect game?
That was the prospect game. That was rained out too.
Anyway, let's not bring up bad memories. All right. We have a ton going on the show. And right now, at two different points during the show, you will win a 4-pack of tickets to a Padres spring training game at Peoria Sports Complex. And you're also qualified for the grand prize, 4 tickets to the Padres Guardians game at Petco Park on April 2nd. Get your spring training tickets now at PeoriaBaseball.com. Your first chance is now. Be caller number 13 for Manny Machado's number, 833-288-0973, and you will be on your way to some spring training games. All right, on the other side, Sam, have you heard about Derek Bender? And, there's a catcher from minor league baseball last year that is kind of being blackballed from baseball because he's being accused of telling the other team what his team was throwing.
Oh, no. I did hear.
Yes, I figured.
This was a story a while ago.
But they caught up with him, and they had talked with him. So we'll talk a little bit about Derek Bender and what's going on with him when we get back on 97.3 The Fan.
We want to treat you.
Joseph Musgrove in the building.
Give him a round of applause, everyone.
What's up? It's not a bad setup right here, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all. How you doing, Joe?
I feel great, man. Yeah, really good. Excited.
I heard you say on the stage today, 2 months away from throwing a baseball.
Yeah.
What are those 2 months going to be like for you?
A lot of patience, you know. I've been working really hard, man. Been really diligent with the rehab. The strengthening stuff has all been, right on par. I've kind of hit every checkpoint with ease. And that was something that was told to me early on, is like, really give it the time that you need on the front end. You don't throw for 6 months regardless, so don't try to go out and be a hero and get yourself throwing in 4 months. Just do all the rehab, hit all the checkpoints, and then maybe make up some time on the back end once I'm consistently throwing. So strength feels really good. It's just getting the shoulder moving again and back in like certain ranges before I start playing catch.
For those who may not know, I don't think it was ever going to be in question whether Joe was going to attack his rehab the way he has already started to attack it. This is one of the most hard and working people I've ever been around. But this is new territory for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you are a guy who I consider well educated on anything he's about to walk through.
Yeah.
What was your education like leading up to surgery? I know you must have talked to a billion people. You don't leave stones unturned.
Yeah.
What was that like, getting yourself prepared for this surgery?
Yeah, I got a notebook full of pages of conversations, phone calls, doctor visits. I vetted 3-4 different doctor options. Called everybody I knew that had Tommy John. Called guys that had it twice, and what the difference was the second time around compared to the first. So.
This is your first, correct?
My first one, yeah. So I feel like I've done, every bit of the homework that I could. I feel like I was as prepared and as, educated on, the process as possible. And now it's just, putting the, the lessons that I've learned from other people and their experiences along with, the feel and the trust that I have for myself.
We're talking to Joe Musgrove here on 97.3 The Fan. And Joe, last year you called into our show. And
yeah, there we go.
You played a prank on me, and it was a really good prank because my heart stopped a beat for a second, and it still does, but I appreciate you doing that. This is the first time we've actually been able to talk about it.
A little locker room talk. It's all good, baby.
I told him, I told these folks that his eyes almost popped out of his head when Joe got on that phone.
Well, yeah, when I'm told I can't come into the clubhouse, it's a little concerning, considering, I'm not that crazy of a guy, but
no,
anyway.
You're good by us down there. You're welcome whenever.
All right. I just wanted to ask you about the mental side of things, because it's got to be hard knowing you're coming into the year you're not going to pitch.
Right.
But you still have to keep working. How do you stay in that zone?
I think, first off, it's a little bit of a relief. It's a chance to kind of step back from, the constant mentality and approach of like being on edge and getting ready and prepared, and just the stresses that, any ball player deals with on the day-to-day of like mechanics feeling out of whack, or as spring gets closer, maybe you haven't hit the checkpoints that you want to hit, or things aren't, as consistent as you like it to be. So not having to deal with those stresses has been super nice. I've been able to focus on life a little bit, got engaged, got a new home, made some moves. So it's been really good. And I think, once I had the surgery, I knew what was ahead of me and, how long the road was. And, it took a little while to get to a good headspace, but I feel like I'm in a great spot now. And, I was saying earlier out on the stage, I'm not claiming to be Superman, but I really believe in my ability to heal and, my ability to, to push my body and get it ready. So I'm preparing and shooting for a return in the postseason at some point. And if, we're a month away from that and I realize it's a long shot, I'm completely fine with, sitting out and, preparing for 26. But I keep myself busy, man. I've really tried to be an extension of the coaching staff and, provide, assistance and help and, experience and, things that help these younger guys and, some of our guys that are transitioning to a starting role, help their careers grow. So, keep myself busy and keeping tasks, to have, at my fingertips, things to work on has been a good relief for me.
Joseph Musgrove in the building.
Give him a round of applause, everyone.
What's up? It's not a bad setup right here, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all. How you doing, Joe?
I feel great, man. Yeah, really good. Excited.
I heard you say on the stage today, 2 months away from throwing a baseball.
Yeah.
What are those 2 months going to be like for you?
A lot of patience, I've been working really hard, man. Been really diligent with the rehab. The strengthening stuff has all been, right on par. I've kind of hit every checkpoint with ease. And that was something that was told to me early on is like, really give it the time that you need on the front end. You don't throw for 6 months regardless. So, don't try to go out and be a hero and get yourself throwing in 4 months. Just, do all the rehab, hit all the checkpoints, and then, maybe make.
All right, back here on 97.3 The Fan. Sammy Levitt, Matt Skraby filling in for Gwynn and Chris. Chris is back tomorrow, and Tony will be back here after the game against the A's. The game has taken a crazy turn, though, because the Padres were dominating it until the bottom of the eighth inning when Padres pitching gave up 5 runs to the A's. So it was 6-3, or it is 6-3 right now in the top of the ninth. 3 more outs for the Padres to turn it around. Now, here's a guy I want to talk about real quick, Sam, before we get into Derek Bender. Tom Cosgrove. He went a third of an inning today, 3 hits, 4 earned runs, and a walk. What happened to the guy that we saw 2 seasons ago that came in and seemingly got everyone in his path out? I know baseball is a hard sport, but it seems like he's not anywhere close to that guy the last couple seasons.
Well, look, the 23 season where he sort of came out of nowhere, and I thought you could argue is one of the more promising, or I should say, one of the better rookies in baseball, really, when you looked at his final numbers as far as just the performance as a rookie. Look, last year, the start of the year was not nearly as good. There were struggles there. Command didn't seem to be the same, was getting hit more. Then obviously was back down in the minors for a good chunk of last year. So look, I still think that Tom is somebody who can help you. I'm not going to go crazy about one spring training outing.
Neither am I.
27th.
Neither am I.
But look, he's a lefty who definitely provides value. So I do think one way or another, knowing how typically you need relievers over the course of a year, I believe Tom Cosgrove will be a part of this bullpen. Is that going to be on opening day? I don't know. But I do think Tom will play a role on this team, and hopefully he can find that 23 rookie year form, because Tom, I mean, look, coming into spring training last year, it was his spot pretty much a lock. It was pretty much a lock for Tom to be in the bullpen. That's how good he was in 2023. So hopefully he can have a bounce back year and find it a little bit again.
Yeah, 54 games, 1.75 ERA, 51 and a third innings in 2023. Last year, 18 games, 11.66 ERA, and 14 and 2/3 innings. So.
Yeah, I do want to mention, though, just with his, and I'm just catching up on the play-by-play on the box score, and we're not obviously watching the game right now.
And it's a limited box score as well.
Yeah, and by the way, again, I'll say we're talking about a spring training game on February 27th.
Yes.
But with that said, from what I can tell here, Tom came in, it was a 3-1 game. He gave up 2 runs, but the inning really blew up. Marinaccio came in, hit a batter, and then gave up a bases clearing triple to make it 6-3 A's.
So Tom Cosgrove was on the hook for
so
those
it was
runs.
Well, I mean, a lot of inherited runners that Marinaccio allowed to score, but Tom didn't have a great outing either. So a bit of a mix of the two.
That's fair.
Tom and Marinaccio.
That's fair.
Okay.
Derek Bender. Now, he was a minor league baseball player last year, and The Athletic caught up with him and interviewed him about this. He was fired from the Twins. That's who was his employer. They drafted him. They gave him the contract. He was playing for the Fort Myers Mighty Muscles, and this was apparently September 6th. And Bender was, I'm going to go back and forth between his commentary now and what actually happened. At the time, Bender was extremely tired. He had been going through a college baseball season. He had been going through all of the minor league season. And he was saying him and his teammates were all talking about how tired they were and how they were ready for the season to be over. And he started making jokes like, hey, it wouldn't be a bad thing if you let that grounder go under your glove. And so teammates were like, ha, 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 kind of funny. A couple of losses would eliminate them from playoff contention. And that's what apparently he was counting on. He says, though, he wasn't serious about it. So what happened was the manager of the opposing team came over to the Fort Myers Mighty Muscles manager and was like, hey, your catcher is telling our hitters what is being thrown. And so he is in violation of Rule 21A, which prohibits players from intentionally losing games or attempting to lose games. And because it remains ongoing, the Twins, Tigers, and MLB and Players Union all declined to comment on this. So that's why it's becoming a big deal. He has no idea whether or not he's going to be playing Major League Baseball ever again. But my question is, can anyone trust him? He says he didn't do it. It would take a lot for me to think that a manager would just make that up and walk across the field and ruin some kid's career. That would be wild to me. But he said he never told the other team about the pitches.
here's a quote in this article that makes me a little dubious of Bender's denial.
Please,
Let me read
please read it.
This is from that ESPN article. Quote, there are a lot of times, I'm sorry, let me read the line above. And this is written by, just so we're good journalism here, Big J journalists, of course. There's no byline. It just says ESPN. Somebody
ESPN
wrote it,
staffers.
right? Okay. Anyway, it says, meanwhile, Bender said he hasn't heard from any of his former teammates, including Ross. I'm not sure who Ross is without going up in the article.
Yeah, it's fine.
Quote, there are a lot of times where you're talking with people that you thought were your friends, or you thought you were friends with. They just don't look at you the same. Quote, Bender told The Athletic. Quote, I've heard my friends get questioned about me, why they're still friends with me. That's hard to hear. I find it a little odd that if it wasn't true, or that people really thought it wasn't true, that he wouldn't have heard from any of his teammates.
Yeah,
I don't know. That kind of screams to me that you did something wrong and people are not too happy
not
with
feeling
it. Just
it.
my opinion.
Like
yeah.
if you had something you got accused of and I knew it wasn't true, I would be calling you being like, Sam, got your back. Like, no one calling you tells me
especially
so
a baseball
much.
team.
Yeah,
especially a baseball team. That's odd to me.
Also,
that's odd to me.
Thank you for bringing that up, because here's another
Yeah.
quote from a family friend and his longtime hitting coach that tells me a lot too. It says, quote, that's sometimes what you get with Derek. You get a lot of emotion, a lot of personality. He's a bold dude. I gave him lots of advice to keep his mouth shut when he got to the minor leagues. I had given Derek some good advice that he didn't take, end quote. So if that's a family friend talking about this guy, like, I don't know. He said he didn't do it. I tend not to believe that.
Oh, okay. So you know what? I was reading the ESPN article, but now I see the original Athletic article. Let me read the first couple of lines here, because again, this is odd to me. If he's innocent,
yeah.
This is written by Sam Blum, by the way, in the Athletic. Every once in a while, Derek Bender will send a text to one of his former teammates, or he'll call and leave a voicemail. But after what happened on September 6th, he has not received one text back, not one call. He's been left on red, a ghosted pariah to a team that has nothing left to do with him.
See, you're right. I mean, that tells me everything I need to know.
I find that odd. I find that odd because if I know baseball players, if they believed or if he really didn't do it, which I think would spread that opinion amongst players, amongst teammates, in my opinion, that wouldn't be happening. To me, that screams that there are a lot of people, for whatever reason, that believe that you did do it.
Yeah.
With the intent of giving away pitches.
Thank you for confirming.
What it says to me.
Thank you for confirming this, because I was reading this morning. Like, is this my hater brain getting in the way? But no, it was exactly what I read. Now he is, and also like if other managers were going to, who was he on, the Rockies? He was on the Fort Myers. Oh, the Twins. The Twins was the parent club. Fort Myers Mighty Muscles.
Right. He was in the Twin system. You know, if I would assume, and again, I haven't read the article here. You know, wasn't prepped by Matt Skraby to read the article.
What are you talking about? I sent you the document.
Oh, sorry, I didn't look at the document.
You're like Chrisello. Chris goes, well, Skraby would have prepared me. I'm like, I gave it to you yesterday. He's like, well, if you would have let me know again.
I was too busy getting Dutch Bros.
It's fine
to read your document.
It's fine. I will prep you for the rest of the show in the next break.
Yeah, I'll take a look at this during the break, the full article. But to me, if a manager is going to another manager and saying that means he got the information from the players, right?
Yeah.
And I would assume that his batters, his players said, yeah, this is what's going on. Just, you know, or they're talking about it inside the dugout. And I would assume there was a level of seriousness to that. That wasn't just it was some sort of joking back and forth, because that stuff does happen between catcher and hitter and whatnot. Like, I get that.
Yeah. But
this would be a very different kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I would assume something very different sounding from that hitter to the opposing manager. So,
I would agree with you. And you've been around
interesting. I got to
baseball
read the
very
whole
long.
article and give you a better full opinion after reading the whole piece. But again, that first part, I don't know. That's if you're innocent, truly, that's odd to me that
So many people don't want
no
anything to do with
teammates
you.
would come to your defense or support you, knowing how tightly knit a baseball team is.
He also had a quote in the article. He was like, I'm not a criminal, and yeah, you're not a criminal, but inside of baseball, you
Well,
probably did.
you're right.
You
You're a
probably
baseball
did
criminal.
something that is like so
Correct.
bad that you are looked at
Yeah.
as a baseball criminal.
It's a bad thing to do. Not only is it just a bad thing to do, and in that moment a competitive disadvantage, obviously, but you're messing with other people's careers in a way. You're messing with your pitcher's numbers, with your pitcher's ability to compete, and in turn with your pitcher's career. So if I'm a teammate and I really think he did it, or I'm one of those pitchers and I think that he was maliciously, legitimately giving pitches to batters before they were coming, I mean, I'm irate.
Yeah.
I mean, that is messing with livelihoods and careers.
Hey,
Truly.
I'm ready to get to AAA, and now I gave up 2 home runs. I'm not saying it happened, but I gave up a bunch of runs, and now I'm not getting a AAA.
And I got to read this article again. I got to read it because I need to understand. Is he saying that that there was no communication between him and a hitter, or is he saying that it was just in a joking manner?
Here is from the article. The interviewer asked, quote, "You were accused of giving away pitches as they were coming up to bat. Did that happen?" Bender said, quote, "No," with an indignant chuckle, "and I'll live with this until the day I die. I never gave pitches away. I never tried to give the opposing team an advantage against my own team." So he's saying that nothing happened. Nothing.
That seems very odd to me.
It does. We'll get back to this in a little bit.
I can't imagine a scenario where hitters are going back to their dugout, talking to their teammates and their coaching staff, or it gets around enough to where the manager starts hearing it.
Yeah.
And they're just making it up out of thin air. I'm sorry to this guy. That sounds ludicrous to me.
It doesn't happen.
That sounds ludicrous.
It does. All right. We'll get back to this in a little bit. We're going to head to break. On the other side, Ben and Wood sat down with Jackson Merrill. I'm excited to hear this interview. Okay, great. And we'll also, if we have time, briefly talk about MLB all under 25 teams. So Sammy and Skraby here with you until Tony gets here, and then it's Skraby and Gwynn, or Gwynn and Skraby on 97.3 The Fan.
Gwynn and Chris on The Fan.
I mean, I think first you can have that belief when you put the kind of work in that you do, that your body's going to heal right, and just trusting it. You talked about being an extension of the coaching staff. I would guess that's going to be even more so this year with you not being able to actually do the physical part.
Yeah.
Is there something that you've tried to do this offseason to kind of get you into that mode in terms of being that extension? Because the reality is, although your arm might be useless in 25 this year, your mind's not going to be. And there's still a lot of guys, especially the ones who may be vying for your spot in the rotation, that could lean on you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's my job to help prepare these guys the best I can. And like guys like Waldron, guys like Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, those are guys that are, have really good stuff and are not far away from, being, middle of the rotation to top half, starting pitchers.
Yeah.
So trying to share some things. That's something we talk about all the time in the clubhouse is like, you bring something to the table on the field, every day. That's kind of what brings you here and gets you to this level. But, days that you're not playing as a starting pitcher, that's, a majority of our days. You pitch once every 5 days. So making sure you bring something to the table is, something we always talk about. So even though, like you said, I'm not going to be physically on the field pitching, I got to find a way to contribute. And a lot of that's just been, better communication with the staff. And I'm really excited this year to be able to sit in more of the coaches' meetings and see how they game plan and how they, come about their approach to certain teams. And I feel like when I come back in 26, I'm going to have a whole plethora of knowledge and things that I hadn't experienced before to add into my game. So.
I just have to say this. I play with a lot of guys, and not all of them are going to take as serious as Joe is taking this part serious, which is getting into those coaches meetings. Coaches are here a lot earlier than the players,
Are they, man?
especially during spring training. So the fact that he's going to be willing to do that, I think that's awesome, man. That's what separates you from a lot of these other guys out there.
Right.
We're talking to Joe Musgrove here, Padres pitcher, 97.3 The Fan, and I have to ask from the fan perspective, because Tony every day on the show, whenever a team in the National League West signs a new big-name player, all of us fans are kind of like, why? And Tony says it doesn't matter. They still have to go out and play the games. Right. When you see that happen, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different perspective as a player. You know, our job is, our goal doesn't change regardless of whether we add, and that stuff's, you know, out of our control. So you never want to sit here going into an offseason saying, you know, we're going to be fired up if we get this guy and this guy, and you know, not if we don't get this guy. So you look at our team, you know, and a lot of people see all the moves being made and don't see us making moves, and it seems like a mismatch in the division. You know, all these other teams are adding, but you look at our roster, I mean, we spent a lot of money over the last handful of years and committed a lot of guys to be here long term, and the value in having those guys return every year and continue to build that relationship and that growth is every bit as valuable as adding a new free agent. So
love that.
I think with the progress we made last year, and you guys will never understand how we feel. I'm sure you can see a little bit of it on the field and how we carry ourselves and, you know, the camaraderie and stuff, but you'll never truly understand just how close that group got last year. And although we didn't, you know, achieve the ultimate goal of winning the World Series, we grew a ton as a team. We grew a ton as, you know, a unit. And I'm super excited that we got most of these guys coming back. We got the whole staff coming back, and we can kind of pick up where we left off.
Well, last one for me, because you kind of just hit on it, and I think it's so important. The continuity, right? This is, what, year maybe 3-4 of this nucleus being together. How much of an impact can that have on a team, having guys who have been in the locker room together for so long?
Yeah, a ton. And, you know, like, Schulte's big thing is shared experiences. You know, we got guys from all over the league, some guys that are new and have experienced things that most rookies don't, and some guys that have been around 10-plus years that have, you know, been in championship locker rooms and been around the best of the best. So sharing those experiences with each other and helping each other grow along the way, not just, you know, providing, you know, assistance and, you know, coaching, but like sharing experiences and helping guys grow a little bit through, you know, what you've been through is a big thing for us.
Joe Musgrove, ladies and gentlemen, this is a good one we got here, man. Joe, appreciate you, brother.
Thanks so much, Joe.
Pleasure, man.
Quick healings, and enjoy the rest of your day,
sir.
man.
You guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
I mean, I think first you can have that belief when you put the kind of work in that you do, that your body's going to heal right, and just trusting it. You talked about being an extension of the coaching staff. I would guess that that's going to be even more so this year with you not being able to actually do the physical part.
Yeah.
Is there something that you've tried to do this offseason to kind of get you into that mode in terms of being that extension? Because the reality is, although your arm might be useless in 25 this year, your mind's not going to be. And there's still a lot of guys, especially the ones who may be vying for your spot in the rotation, that could lean on you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's my job to help prepare these guys the best I can. And like guys like Waldron, guys like Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, you know, those are guys that are, you know, have really good stuff and are not far away from, you know, being, you know, middle of the rotation to top half, you know, starting pitchers. So trying to share some things. That's something we talk about all the time in the clubhouse is like, you know, you bring something to the table on the field, you know, every day. That's kind of what brings you here and gets you to this level. But, you know, days that you're not playing as a starting pitcher, that's, you know, a majority of our days. You pitch once every 5 days. So making sure you bring something to the table is, you know, something.
I just said all of that without saying a word. That is really annoying. I was like, I can't hear myself. I'm just going to keep going. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. Sam Levitt, Matt Skraby here on 97.3 The Fan. Padres, the game just ended between them and the A's. A's win 6-4.
Skraby, if you and I had a show,
yes,
what do you think the name would be?
I thought we already found it. Sammy and Skraby?
You think it would be Sammy and Skraby?
It sounds better.
Sam and Skraby, Skraby and Sam.
Well, do you
Skraby
like
and
being
Sammy?
called Sammy?
I love Sammy.
Okay.
I'm a
then there we
Sammy at
go.
heart. I'm a Sammy at heart. Growing up, everybody called me Sammy. Nobody in their right mind in New York would call me Sam.
There is no disrespect meant by this, but we had a very good dog growing up named Sammy. I love that dog so much. No, people
Sammy's
always take offense when you're like, "Oh, our dog has the same name as you."
Why?
I dated a girl who had the same name as our dog, and that was fun.
I agree. It should be. I think Sammy and Skraby has a nice
ring.
To it.
Yes, yeah, it's way better. Skraby and Sammy. Nah. We got to put the star.
Are we
first.
doing more? Are we doing more dating advice today?
We can. We've been asked to. We definitely have been asked to.
I mean, I had people reach out. I had people listen. It was a popular segment.
I went on Bumble last night and I was like, opening line. Hey, how's it going? No. All right. Padres lose today. No big deal. We'll talk about that later. We have Jackson Merrill here. Actually, you know what? Jackson Merrill was so good with Ben Woods. It was a 12-minute conversation. And Jackson Merrill, he actually is a good talker. You know what I'm saying? Like some
Great
players,
talker.
It's just not for them. It's just, talking to the radio people is just not something that they were born to do, which is fine because I can't hit a fastball either. But Jackson Merrill, definitely one of those guys who is able to talk with the best of them. So Ben and Woods, they sat down with Jackson Merrill this morning, and here is what they talked about.
Sitting down with us, getting ready for his second season with San Diego Padres as a big leaguer. Jackson Merrill. Jackson, we were just talking about last year we sat down with you at this time, and so much was unknown. Didn't even know if you're going to make the team at that point. You didn't know what position he was going to play or anything. Talk about the differences between last spring training and this spring training, at least in your mind, if there is any.
For me, no, I treat it the same. Got to make the team. Got to break the team. Got to prove to them that I'm worthy of having the center field job. But also, it is a little more relaxed, for me, not knowing what position I was playing last year to this year. I know what I'm doing. So, yeah, it's a little more relaxed, a little more tranquil than last year.
How was the off season for you? I talked to you at fantasy camp briefly, and you said you were really, really bored and you were ready to get back to it. Like after playing a lot of games, more baseball probably than you'd ever played in your life. What was your decompression time as opposed to your, all right, it's time to start running and lifting and hitting and all that again?
Yeah, so usually I get back to it pretty fast, but this year was different. This year I took a month to just kind of chill. I'd never played that many games before, never been on my feet so consistently like that. So I just kind of took a month to chill, and then after that it was go time. So I got my running in, lifts in as much as I possibly could. I went home, back to Baltimore for a month, so it's obviously really cold outside. You don't really get to go outside that much, but for the most part I was here too. I've been here for 3 months now, so I'm really looking forward to getting these games going. Enjoyed my first 3, so I'm excited to keep going.
Yeah. It's pretty remarkable how well you managed out in center field last year, considering it was a brand new position that you hadn't even been asked to play until spring training had already started. Where do you think you are now in terms of that development as an outfielder out in center field, and where do you think you can kind of take your game to defensively?
No, still learning a lot. But I think I've done a really good job to learn fast.
Yeah.
I feel like I pick up things kind of quick, and I just want to keep going. Do as much defense as possible, as much reads as possible, just get better in any way possible. If you were watching yesterday, apologize for the.
It was like one little.
Yeah, I never even done that before. Like
pop out and recatch it.
Literally never had that happen before in the infield or anywhere. I've always just caught it straight to the glove, and I looked it all the way in. It just popped out. So, I went home and I put a little softball in my glove and wrapped it up so the pocket's bigger now, so it doesn't pop out anymore. But I was like, oh.
You know what? I wouldn't have lost any sleep about it if I were you, man. I mean, the way that you played last year, I know that you had done an interview earlier in spring training talking about, you're working the walls a little bit better, getting up, maybe robbing a couple. That's always a fun feeling for a center fielder to do. Who have you kind of leaned on? On the team and maybe even around the league of guys that you've talked to that have kind of helped you with the position, because it's essentially the same view-ish as shortstop, but it's certainly different, man. When that ball, these guys hit it really, really hard. I don't know if you're one of them, and it's spinning and it's knuckling and things like that. Have you leaned on some current big leaguers or ex big leaguers?
To be honest with you, I've kind of always, in my baseball career, even in the minors, no one really has come to me and tried to force me to learn stuff and controlled me of how I'm learning and adjusting stuff. They've always kind of just thrown it at me and let me see how I handle it.
Yeah.
It's always kind of just panned out. So when I got told to go to center, I didn't ask questions. I didn't say anything. I went to center, and I started to learn as fast as possible. And obviously, there's stuff about like positioning and certain like counts. What should I do in certain counts? Like 2 strikes, you should move it because if 2 strikes, you're trying to shorten up and get a base hit rather than swing big. But other than that, no. Like I have been mainly just going at it on my own, and being athletic and having fun. Like I said last year a lot. It's just that's all I was trying to do out there is be athletic. Go catch the ball. If it's in the air, go catch it.
Is it a thing for you where you don't want to overthink? You don't want to get too much information. You don't want to get, I don't want to hear how this guy does it because then I might change the way I do it.
Yeah, exactly. No, like I think just there's a different way about everybody playing center field.
Yeah.
You see Jacob Young, you see Brenton Doyle, Gold Glove for Doyle this year. Like, they just play it a different way. They also play in different stadiums too, so it's harder to ask them like, what they do because like Colorado, the ball flies, and then the Nats Park, it's a big park and it's a little different. The air is different than Petco. Like Petco, the ball gets hung up, so it's kind of easier to get underneath balls and catch balls.
Makes sense. Jackson Merrill is with us, and communication is obviously big in the outfield as well. You don't want to run into each other. You got Fernando now, a full season has been next to you, but in left field, some new faces this year. What's been your interaction with? You got some veterans like Jason Hayward, Connor Joe's been out there. Got some younger guys. Eggy's played out there. We've seen Tirso Ornelas out there. I'm sure you played with some of these guys in the minor leagues before, but what have you seen from some of the left field candidates so far?
All of them are great. All of them got the ability to play in the big leagues. It's just a matter of which one's going to get the most playing time. And then I really like all the guys, Hayward, Sheets, and even Forrest Wall yesterday. Forrest Wall had an unreal game. Slept on. Single, gets a second, steals third. Obviously doesn't score, but then comes back later.
Home run. It's a bomb. Good
home run. He's here to play, and I think that's how everybody here that's what they're here to do. Everybody's here to play and compete for a job. So
you play your first season, finish runner-up for Rookie of the Year, and I know again you said I don't care. I want to win a World Series. Getting as close as you did in your first year, you hear stories like this in baseball a lot. Like you make it your first year, and you make it pretty far in the playoffs. Didn't end the way that you wanted to, and there's been a rash of players that say, I thought it was going to happen every single year. For you, have you thought about that, right? And how the season ended, and how long did that kind of take you to get over?
Once the season ended, it obviously sucked in the moment, but for me personally, I'm a guy that kind of gets over things faster than people. So when it ended, yeah, it sucks, and I'm going to be absolutely bored out of my mind for a week after that.
Did you watch much after?
Yeah, I watched it. I'm a baseball guy, so
that's fair.
I'm watching everything. But to be honest, it was in the past. That year's over. It's over with. You can't change it. There's nothing you can do. They beat us. That's what happened. So all you got to do is look forward to this year and look forward to what you can do in this season.
There's a phrase that people sometimes use for second-year players. I don't even want to
say it. Do not say it.
I think you know what I've.
What
it is. Is there? I'm not worried about you at all. I've seen you play and how you bring it. I have no concerns about that. But is that something the team will address or anything like that? Or is there any truth to that in anyone's mind on a baseball field?
No, okay. Not at all. I mean, there was a time in the minors for a month that I struggled and it sucked, but I figured out a way to get out of it and figure out a way to mentally get through it. And I just it's baseball.
Yeah.
You're gonna suck at some points. You're going to. It's a part of it. But it's just how you can adjust and get out of those slumps. Like last year, I was in slumps for weeks at a time, but it was I found it and I was out of it. And then I give a month rather than week good, week bad, week good, week bad.
We had Luis Suarez sitting down here yesterday. No one's better with the bat than he is, and he said something that I thought about all day. He said, "Baseball is really hard. Hitting is really hard. It's not impossible, but it's really
team meeting.
Really hard."
Did he?
Yeah, we were having a team hitting meeting. He's like, "I love hitting. I love hitting. I love hitting. But hitting is hard. But it's not impossible." We're like, so what are you trying to say here? He's like, hitting is hard, not for me, but hitting is hard. Thanks, guy. I also see he wrote 3-time batting champ underneath his signature on here.
Yeah, he did.
Wow. That boy Louis. What a guy.
So I'm not the only one that made an impression on apparently.
That was great. It was great. He's I love the thing I like about this team, and I think most teams need to be constructed this way. You can't have 9 guys in the lineup to swing the exact same. It's got to be different looks and got to be different ways to beat you. And when you look at the way the Padres lineup is constructed, They've moved you up a little bit in some spring training games. Is that something that you feel, number one, excited about, something that you want to happen? I know a lot of fans, it's every fan's dream to make out the lineup card. And boy, Schulte sure loves it when we give him our suggestions. He's a big fan of it. So, we all play that game in the offseason of, all right, coming into this year, you go Rise at the top, maybe Toddy, then maybe Merrill in the 3. Is that something for you, moving up from 7 to 3, or do you care at all?
I really don't care where I'm at in the lineup. Obviously, I didn't care last year. I started at 9-hole, moved up 8, 7, kind of just moved up a spot at a time until I got to 5th and just kind of stayed there. But if I move to the 3-hole, yeah, good, great. If not, then I got to do my job in the 5 protecting somebody, In the 3-hole, you're protected. So, I got to walk. I got to, take more pitches and see more pitches, try to get a better pitch to hit every AB. But in the 5-hole, if I don't have as much protection, then I'm the one protecting Manny and Bogey.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on wherever they want to put me, wherever they think is best fit for the team.
You also get up more, though, when you're higher in the
That's
lineup.
true.
Yeah, for sure. More RBI opportunities, too.
Yep.
It kind of being at the 9-hole for the beginning of the year, it obviously took away a little bit of that. But, you make do with what you have. You can't complain about where you're at in the lineup if you're in the lineup.
Now, for you, we are, the media experts, and I use finger quotes, and I say that with my tongue firmly planted in my cheek. About midway through the season, we're looking at Jackson, and we're talking about, man, what's the ceiling for this guy, this season? I don't know. I mean, it'd be great if he hit 10, 12, double-digit home runs would be rad, and you go out and you throw 24 home runs up, and I know you didn't really change your approach at all. When you look at hitting 24 homers as a rookie, is it something you look at and go, yeah, I want to get 30, or do you just continue to try to hit the ball hard, good things will happen?
Yeah, try to hit doubles more than homers, because doubles are really important.
They're great.
It keeps the rally going. Homers are good, and they're obviously better than doubles, but
Sure.
they don't come by as much. You try to hit doubles, line drives, you're going to make out and hit a couple more homers than you think you are. But hitting more homers than I did last year comes with strength and age. I'm only 21 still. I still have time to just kind of fill out, and I haven't yet. I don't really feel like I've gotten that older man strength in my body. Just waiting for it to come. A lot of flyouts that were deep to the warning track last year. So if I can get a little bit more extra strength, just by age, just by naturally putting on weight, those are going to go, and then it may turn into 30, like you said.
Yeah. Last thing for me, Jackson, we talked a little bit about yesterday. It was written up in the paper about last Monday when you guys played. And you were done after 4 innings, but you stuck around. The veterans, they usually leave, and you see them all carrying their bags and coming back here. But you stuck around with the other guys all the way through 9 innings. I don't know why it made such an impression on all of us as fans. I know you weren't doing it for eyewash or show or anything, but what's your rationale behind that? Just sitting there.
Certain games, there's certain games where, 1, you have to read your body, but 2, my boys are in there that I've played with in the minors when I was coming up. So it's cool to get that opportunity to watch them. But also you can learn a few things if you just are chilling watching the game. If you're just locked into a game, you're better at counts. It's crazy, Freddie. It's crazy, Freddie. It's crazy.
Did he give it a little extra juice as he was driving by? I feel like he did.
He put it in gear.
Yeah, he did.
I don't even remember what I was saying.
Talking about being locked in, watching the game, being locked in with your boys.
So it's a good opportunity, especially when you go through a whole season. You don't even get to see some of those guys for the whole year. The 2 guys I live with right now, I didn't even get to see the entire season last year. So for me, it's just a better opportunity. It's just a good opportunity to see some more baseball.
Yeah, I love it.
Jackson, really appreciate it. Obviously, you're number 2. We're looking really forward to seeing you back at Petco Park in a few weeks, but thanks for sitting down with us.
Of course.
There is Jackson Merrill, San Diego Padres center fielder, and certainly took San Diego by storm last year in 2024.
All right. If my man crush didn't need to be bigger, it's bigger. I mean, Jackson Merrill is living my dream. I actually was best at baseball, I think, and I quit for football. I should have stayed with it. Jackson Merrill and I would have been a baseball player. Actually, I'm 15. All right, I'm going to stop talking. It's time for break. We're going to head there. Sam Levitt and I are going to talk about Jackson Merrill on the other side. We also have a daily Gambit, a quick one, some NL Cy Young early odds. We'll get into that on the other side on Gwynn and Chris. those people who were like, oh, I want to see greatness. I want to see the three-peats. Did not happen, and I still love it.
Absolutely.
Still
I would have
love
loved it.
I know you would have. And I'm glad that it didn't happen because I wouldn't be able to hear about how great Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are for the rest of eternity.
So instead you wanted the Eagles to become the clear NFC powerhouse, making your 49ers
no, but
useless.
I didn't. But it was nice to see
the
49ers
run is kind of over.
Don't start with
it's
me.
over, Skraby.
They're just getting Brock Purdy into negotiations. Apparently, he's not even looking to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, which is amazing to me because he is, I guess he could make something like $65 million a year, but he's not going to. But anyway, we'll talk more about that another day. I got a text in the break, Sam, about what our name should be. And our show name, and I don't like this one, and my friend knows I don't like this. I immediately shot it down, but people like to put our name together, and so they said the Scrammy Show, and I don't like the name Scrammy Show at all. So keep coming up with stuff, Ron. I don't like the Scrammy Show. It makes me think of something else. I don't know.
What about Sam Few?
No, that is even
Sam
worse.
Matthew, or Sat.
Scrammy feels even worse. No, it needs to be Sammy and Skraby.
Skevit.
No, we've already found the name
Larabi.
of this show. No, these are all terrible names. These are all awful names. Skraby or Sammy and Skraby is the name of the show. All right, let's get back to Padres baseball, Sam. Jackson Merrill with Ben and Woods. He's hilarious. He's awesome. My question, will the fans be able to still love him if he struggles this year? I don't think he's going to struggle, but there is that thing called the sophomore slump. And if he does struggle, I want the fans to bring the same energy they do when he's great for when he's struggling.
I think the fans will love him regardless because of what he did last year. I also don't expect Jackson to struggle. And look, I think with every player, and Jackson talked about this today, as you heard in the interview at the bottom of the hour, I think with every player, you go through struggles, you go through, peaks and valleys. That's what happens in baseball. And the one thing that Jackson, well, not the one thing, but one of many things that Jackson did so incredibly well in his rookie season is that he did not allow slumps to become extended bad stretches. To me, that was one of the more impressive aspects of his season. When Jackson went into a slump, when he had a 2 for 20, 3 for 24, whatever it might be, those stretches typically lasted a week.
Yeah.
And then he was back to being the same Jackson Merrill we saw really all year. It was one of the more impressive things I think about his season is that he never allowed any slump to really become an extended bad stretch. So I don't expect it. We'll see what this year holds. If I know Jackson, his talent level, his work ethic, I mean, I'd be willing to bet he has an equal to better year in year 2. But look, it's a game of adjustments, right? And now there's a full season of tape out on Jackson, and pitchers will adjust to him. And now it's going to be his job to adjust back to the league. Once that happens, by the way, that happened last year, I'm sure, as he continued to play. So yeah. I don't expect it. Even, let's say, hypothetical world, Jackson got off to a rough start. I don't think the fans are going to turn on him. I don't think they're turning on Jackson at any point this year. But look, it's a game of ups and downs. It's a game where you struggle at times. And you hope whatever struggles that Jackson has, and those struggles are inevitable. Like, you're not going to stay scorching hot all year.
Of course.
There is going to be, even if it's only for a few days, there is going to be a stretch of games where you don't play well, where you take an O for 3-4 days, where you have a bad couple of weeks. But again, to me, one of the really impressive parts of Jackson's rookie season was the fact that he never allowed a slump to become a really extended stretch. And if he can do that again, that's a pretty good recipe for having a pretty good second year. So I'm excited about it, and I wouldn't worry about the fan support for Jackson. I think Jackson's got the fans in his pocket after what he did last year.
I mean, he should. It was incredible. What was I going to say about Jackson Merrill? It just left my head as soon as I was about to say it. Oh, the best quality to me about Jackson Merrill is that he gets it. He understands it at a really young age. The whole thing of being a major leaguer and working on your game every single year, the mindset of coming and saying, I have to make this team when you're coming off of a rookie of the year season that you didn't get rookie of the year. It's incredible to me that he even thinks that way.
Yeah, I think for Jackson, I think number one, it's genuine. I think number two, he's still young enough where he can do this,
Yes.
kind of show up again and say, hey, I'm just trying to make the team again.
Yeah.
Even though we all understand that
5 years
he's in
from
a very
now, when he's a
different spot than
perennial all-star, he
right. When he's 25, 26, is he going to be talking like this after spending 4 or 5 years in the league? Probably not. But I think for now, I think it's probably the right thing for Jackson to do is just stay within himself and be the guy he's been since the moment he arrived at spring training last year. And if I'm him, obviously you're always adjusting. Obviously you're always tinkering, but I really wouldn't change a thing about him, about the way he plays the game, about his approach, about his defense. He is just fine the way he is. So I think when you're talking about a 21 to into turning 22-year-old young man, I think for now it's perfectly okay for him to truly have that mentality and try to keep things as simple as possible, right? And to me, that, again, when we talk, there are so many things, and we talked at length about it over the course of the last year. There were so many impressive things about Jackson and his season, and in addition to not allowing any stretch to become an extended slump, he just kept things really simple. Like, there's a simplicity to his game. There's a simplicity to his stance. He keeps it simple. He keeps the main thing, if you will. So if I'm Jackson, I'm doing exactly what I did a year ago. I'm not changing a thing. And yes, when he's 5-6 years in, I don't know that he's going to show up saying I'm trying to make the team. That'll probably wear off over time.
It probably will.
I think year two for a 21-year-old, that's just fine.
All right, more show names. Mammy? No, we're not going to go with Mammy. Sammy and Matt.
How about Skrabamy?
Skrabamy? No, that takes more explanation than it does to even say it. Keep coming up with the names, people. We'll keep replying to them if we can. But here it's Daily Gambit. We have a UCSD game tonight. Also, an NL Cy Young early odds look. Let's go.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in the Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Tonight, UCSD is playing Cal State Northridge. UCSD, a 5.5-point favorite, but listen to these team stats, Sam, for the Tritons and Northridge. Their average points this year, both of them, 80.5 points. Points against, UCSD is a little bit better. They only give up 62 versus Northridge's 71. Their field goal percent, 46.9 for the Tritons, 46.8 for Northridge. Rebounding is a little bit different. Northridge has the advantage there. Assists are one assist apart, 15.6 to 16.7. Anyway, what I'm saying is this game is going to be very evenly matched. The Tritons have won 9 in a row. Northridge has won 7 in a row. Sam, I'm going to bet on the Tritons to win and cover. What do you say?
Well, I know somebody that works at Cal State Northridge.
Oh,
so
is that right?
I'm going to pick Cal State Northridge to cover,
Okay.
but UCSD to win the game.
Okay. I'm fine with that. I mean, 5.5 points.
As you
is a
know,
lot of
during the
points.
Daily Gambit, my picks tend to be very non-scientific. We're looking for reasons to lean one way or another. And guess what? On Tuesday, what did I do? I
4-0.
did just that,
4-0.
and I was 4-0.
4-0. All right, let's go to another bet from tonight. This comes from BetQL. Anthony Edwards at the Lakers. Over or under 41.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Now, Anthony Edwards scores a ton. He scores maybe 28 to 30 a game. I don't know his exact average, but do you think that he will combine for over or under 41.5 points, rebounds, assists?
Wow, that's a high number, because even if you score, let's say you score
25, 5, and 5.
25, you would need a combined 17 assists and rebounds. You know, the Laker defense has been a lot better lately under JJ Redick. I'm going to go under.
Okay.
I'm going under. That's very high. Now, if Ant scores, well, you know
he could
what?
Score 35.
If he scores 30-something, then it becomes a lot easier. To me, the point number is the big thing. You know, how much of the 41.5 can he get just via points? But you know what? I'll take the probability that Anthony Edwards scores under 30 points, and then that makes it kind of tough.
It will make it really tough.
Now, he can do it, certainly, but I think the probability is that he doesn't. So, under.
All right, I'm going to go over, because anytime I bet with the Lakers, it always ends up hurting me in the end because I lose. I found this BetQL bet, 5-star bet for the first half. It's extremely random, but they're saying to bet the Charlotte Hornets +6 in the first half against the Dallas Mavericks. Would you make this bet, Sam?
You can bet this just the first half?
Oh, yeah, you could bet by quarter. You could bet. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. Dallas.
Yeah, you'll take Charlotte.
Is without Anthony Davis. Those guys still hurt. Love me some LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, he's
so
great.
give me Charlotte to cover. I mean, that's a pretty high number.
+6
it's a
for the
high
first
number.
half. Yeah, they're thinking
for
maybe they're going to be down by that much. I don't think so. I'm going Charlotte.
I would think that most
as
NBA games, I would think that over 50% of NBA games are within 6 points at the half.
I'm going to have to try and find that stat because that would be wild. I'd never even thought about it.
I don't know where you'd find it, but
someone's got it. All right, NL Cy Young futures, Sam. We all know who's number one in this list. Paul Skeens, +300. I am reserved.
Wow, he's an overwhelming favorite.
Yeah, because Zach Wheeler's +750. Now, I should remind everyone, as Chris usually says, this is not what they think is going to happen. It's what people are betting. So more people are betting on Paul Skeens than anyone else.
Okay.
But Paul Skeens +300, Zach Wheeler +750. You got, where's Dylan C? Oh, Dylan C 1,600, Michael King 2,200. But you got Chris Sale above them, Corbin Burns above them, Tyler Glasnow, Spencer Strider. Paul Skeens, I'm not going to be as mean to him this year because he's not facing Jackson Merrill for any awards. He's going to be good. I just want to see it through a whole season. I think that's fair.
Yeah. So what are we picking here?
We're not really picking anything. We're just discussing the odds. Do you think that this would be a good bet? Dylan C said plus. How about this? How about this?
I'll tell you where I see really good value.
Okay,
really good value. I think Michael King is exceptional value.
+2,200.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I think Michael King is going to be a top 3 Cy Young finisher this year.
Okay.
I think he's going to be one of the best pitchers in baseball. So I think there's great value there. I think Sandy Alcantara, great value there. I mean, that's just people forgetting how good Sandy is. I mean, he's arguably the best pitcher. He was arguably the best pitcher in the game when he was healthy.
Yeah, he hit 99 the other day in his
That's
start.
Great value. Although I don't know if he's going to be on any kind of innings limit. I don't think so because he's already back and kind of, going full force. I just don't know if he's going to throw 200 innings.
Got Logan Webb, Freddie Peralta, Zach Gallen.
Logan Webb's really good. Freddie Peralta, Yeah. I mean, look, Blake Snell's always going to be an interesting one because his ceiling is so high.
+1,000 for Blake Snell.
Cease obviously has all the ability in the world. Burn, it's a lot of great picks here.
I like what you're saying, though, because Michael King, you bet $100 on Michael King, +2,200. If he wins the Cy Young, you win $2,200. I like that value. That's a great pick.
Yeah, right. I think that again, King has good value. I think Alcantara has great value. I don't see Peralta, Gallen, Gray, Imanaga winning a Cy Young. Webb, Senga's always hurt.
Spencer Strider's
Yamamoto's interesting.
Tommy John.
Yamamoto's interesting, but I don't know that I can bet on him over a full season yet.
Tyler Glass now, another one.
Yeah, I'd say, again, great point. I mean, he's got to prove he can stay healthy for 6 months, and that just hasn't happened. Strider's coming off Tommy John.
Yeah.
Green is good, but, isn't always consistent. To me, I look at King and Alcantara, and I say those guys are really, 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 really good.
Yes.
Like, really good, and I think those are really good value bets if you can make them.
All right. You heard it. Sammy Levitt going with Sandy Alcantara, Michael King.
Burns, but Burns is a good one too. Corbin Burns is really good. So if you bet $100 on Corbin Burns and he wins the Cy Young, you get $1,200.
Correct. That's how these. Yeah, that's. How
that's Corbin Burns is elite.
Wow. Even though he struggled down the stretch last year at the Orioles.
Nah, I don't care about.
I love it when baseball people are like, "Don't bring up anything from last year. He's gonna be fine."
Yeah, Snell's interesting because the ceiling is just so high. Like at his peak, he's so unbelievable. But you could also tell me that
really bad at times.
Yeah, well, you could also tell me that for 4 months, for 3-4 months, he's like, walking tons of guys and throwing a million pitches. You could tell me that, and that it's hard to win a Cy Young that way. But the thing is with Snell, and we saw it in 23. He can have a pretty good stretch where he's doing that, and then all of a sudden be so good for so long and so dominant that he goes and wins a Cy Young. So he's a hard one to.
He's definitely a hard one to figure out.
Yeah.
Okay, that is it for the Daily Gambit. We are going to go to break. Sammy Lev spoke with Alec Jacob earlier yesterday, so we're going to hear from that. Alec Jacob, reliever for the Padres. Sam caught up with him in the clubhouse. We'll hear about that, and then a little bit of Michael King a little bit later. So here's some traffic, and then Alec Jacob on the other side.
From the 8-5.
on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. We've been getting a lot of different names out there, Sam, for our fake show that we are trying to create a name for. I'm just going to always stick with Sammy and Skraby, but we have Sam Skrabistan, which is kind of clever and kind of funny at the same time. Skravit Show is interesting. The Single Swipers Show is interesting. Clayton also says Sammy and Skraby's dating advice.
How about
show.
this? No, I got it. You ready?
What?
The Sam Levitt Show featuring Matt Skraby.
Not into it. Not into it. I don't like to be featured.
Or just the Sam Levitt Show.
I mean, you are the bigger name, so I would be fine with that. I would be riding your coattails a little bit. You know, your TikTok nation that you have going on. How about if it was what if it was called? Never mind. I'm not going to come up with something on the air right now because it's just going to be bad. Sam, he talked to Alek Jacob yesterday in the clubhouse, and Alek Jacob is a reliever for the Padres, as we all know, and he's got an interesting path. Sam, you want to say anything before we get into it, or should we just go with it?
Yeah, a little background. Look, Alek obviously has had some cups of coffee in the major leagues and has done well. Has that unique sidearm delivery, unique arm slot, went to Gonzaga, got the opportunity in 23 after doing some really good things at AA. I think he's got a real chance to be a very, very important part of this bullpen in 2024. 2025. I think the interesting thing is going to be just see where things shake out by the time we get to opening day. Padres are dealing with injuries right now. Brian Hoeing being one of them, dealing with a shoulder. Sean Reynolds still in a walking boot, dealing with a stress reaction in his right foot. So it may open the door for Alek Jacob to, grab a spot on the opening day roster. But I'll tell you what, he's been very, very good in the backfield. He was very good yesterday in his Cactus League debut. And I think you pair that with some of the success that he's had in the major league so far when he's got those opportunities. And I think he's got a really good shot to make this team for all those reasons. So good for Alek Jacob. And one thing we talk about here is his off-speed pitches, which I think are really important. His changeup is great. You'll hear him talk about the sweeper. You'll hear him talk about his sinker and his four-seam fastball. You'll hear him talk about Ruben Niebla here. So he's a name to watch. I think a guy who could have a bigger, more significant, more regular impact on this bullpen potentially than even what we've seen in years past, where he was kind of a guy that came up at times and contributed.
All right. Well, without further ado, Sammy Lev with Alek Jacob.
Looking at your numbers from a year ago, I mean, the off-speed stuff was really effective, so I want to talk about a couple of those pitches. Let's start with the changeup in particular. How do you feel like that played last year?
I felt really great about the changeup. I feel like that was probably my best pitch last year. Really just want to keep doing what I was doing with it last year. I'm not trying to change anything with that, really just trying to perfect it and replace it, put it in the best place as possible.
With the sweeper in particular, another pitch that had a lot of success. What did you like about the way you used it a year ago?
Yeah, 24 felt like it wasn't quite as good as 23 actually. So I kind of this offseason kind of adjusted the sweeper a little bit, changed the grip, trying to get a little more vert on it. I think that's going to help me. I think it's going to play a little bit better. That's what the numbers just tell me. So felt like it played good last year, but I wasn't getting the swing and miss that I wanted, so I tried to adjust a little bit.
You mentioned the adjustment with the sweeper heading into the offseason and heading into this spring. What else were you working on? What were the goals this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, always trying to get better, right? Like always trying to improve on all the pitches and trying to get more consistent with everything. I think that's the biggest thing as a pitcher is consistency. Nothing like too major really, just trying to change, shapes maybe a little bit here and there, trying to make myself a little bit more unconventional if possible. I think that's a big thing that I bring to the table. So just trying to find other ways to get guys off balance.
Speaking of unconventional, getting guys off balance, obviously you have a unique delivery, unique arm slot. What do you feel like that does to hitters, the benefit of having that type of delivery?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times when I'll face a guy first time through, they're a little bit on the defensive end because they don't really know what to expect from me. So I think it's just providing a different look, providing something that you don't always see every day. I think I can kind of catch guys and put them in different difficult positions, and just especially if I can stay on the attacking end.
As far as Ruben Abla, Padres pitching coach, guys constantly rave about working with him. What's the impact Ruben's had on you?
Yeah, Ruben's been great. I mean, he's really just helped me become like a pro and like figure out how to be the best version of myself out there and like be that consistent guy whenever the time calls, whether it's the fourth inning or the ninth inning, whatever you need. I think that's been a big thing for me. Obviously, there's a big jump from minor league baseball to big league baseball. And a lot of it can be a mindset thing. So I think that was a really big help for me.
What do you feel like the biggest adjustment has been? Because when you originally came up, you were mostly that year at Double A, and then you make a big jump. You're facing major league hitters, especially for somebody like yourself with the unique delivery arm slot. What was the biggest adjustment to face major league hitters?
I think it kind of was just that. Like, don't think of it as like it's the major leagues versus Double A. This, like, if you execute your pitches and you do what you can do, like you're going to get the same, like you're going to get guys out the same way that you do in Double A. It's just, maybe the mistakes will be, punished a little bit more. So I think that was a big thing for me, was don't like look at who's in that box and be intimidated by anybody. Just stay on the attacking end. And I feel like I've been good with that, and I think that's led to a lot of success for me.
Getting back to the pitch mix, we talked about the changeup, sweeper, you throw a sinker, four-seam fastball. How did you feel about those two versions of the fastball last year, and what's your mindset with those coming into spring?
Yeah. So I felt like my four-seam played really well last year. I was actually really happy with it. And I felt like the sinker, maybe I used it a little too much. I don't know. It's something that we're going to be playing around with this spring for sure, trying to get my like numbers, sort of like usage numbers, very like similar, sinker, four-seam, sweeper, and changeup, just trying to keep guys off balance as much as possible, trying to be unpredictable. So I think that'll help me. I think my usages were pretty wide. There's a wide margin between the two. Sinker was much heavier than four-seam, so I think that's gonna be a big help for me this year.
All right, that was Alek Jacob with Sammy Lev. You can find all that great content from Sammy Lev at spring training at Sammy Lev on Twitter, and then Instagram, and then YouTube. He's got it everywhere, people. You have no excuse. Is your name Sammy Lev on YouTube, or is it Sam Levitt?
I think the handle is Sammy Lev.
Okay.
I think if you search Sam Levitt, it should pop up.
It should, yeah. I would think there's not too many famous Sam Levitts out there. I don't know how many Sam Levitts are. Do you think
there's
out
there? I was thinking of Joseph Gordon-Levitt. For a second, I thought his name was Samuel Gordon-Levitt, but it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That was really funny.
Well, actually, it's so funny you say that about famous Sam Levitts, because there was a very famous Sam Levitt this past fall, Arizona State quarterback Sam Levitt, who went to the college football playoff. Although we don't spell our last name the same way, he adds an A in there. But you would not believe the number of people this fall, as ASU was really good and made it to the playoff. You would not believe the number of people that texted me being like, I did a double take when they said Sam Levitt on the TV.
I did too. Yeah, I mean, I did too. I think I may even texted you, and then you said you were going to buy a jersey, but then we realized, his name wasn't spelled the same.
I would do it. I would have done it had we
spelled
our last name the same way. Without this spelling, it's just a little off. Like, I get it. It's the same exact pronunciation, same name, essentially.
No, but it doesn't make sense. It's not your last name.
Yeah, I don't, if we had the same spelling of the last name, I would have figured out a way somehow, some way to meet Sam Levitt.
It would have happened. I'm guaranteeing that would have happened. Two famous Sam Levitts in one place. I mean, we can't do that because what if? Never mind. All right. On the other side, we are going to talk a little bit about what happened at spring training, just briefly, and then Ben and Woods. They were with Michael King today, and Michael King, as Sam said, is a guy who's looking at possibly top 3 Cy Young Award winners this year. So we'll hear from him, and we'll talk about Michael King on the other side on 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
If you love Mediterranean food, then you need to try. Oh, and then you need to try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla for dining or takeout options. Visit spiroscuisine.com. Sammy and Skraby here. Gwynn should be here shortly. Chris back tomorrow. I did see a comment on the chat that made me laugh a little bit. They said part-time LO, and that did make me laugh. But no, Chris has not been canned, as he was also asked on the chat. So Chris will be back tomorrow. Everybody calm down.
Looking at the Spiro's menu right now.
I mean, I am 100%
I'd get a lot of this. I'd get the lamb beef gyro, chicken gyro. I'd get the falafel. Get the gyro
hummus,
fries.
The hummus.
I'm not a hummus guy, but I am a baba ganoush guy.
Yeah, save
they got baba
that
ganoush
clip.
on here. They got.
I'm not a hummus guy, but I'm a baba ganoush guy. I don't even know what baba ganoush is.
It's eggplant.
Oh,
eggplant based. I don't see baba ganoush on here. They might not have it. That's okay though.
They have a lot of stuff. Is that
I
specifically
love
Greek?
Ooh, Avgo lemino soup.
That wasn't English, but sure.
Avgo lemino. Love it. Got to get the Spiro's. Have I had Spiro's in the ballpark? I think I have had it in the ballpark.
Well, the Scrabinator game, you had a little
right.
plate.
That's right.
That's
right. Yeah, I've had Spiro's in the ballpark. I've not been to Spiro's outside the ballpark, so I got to get there. I love Coronado. Get me to Coronado.
Yeah, Coronado. The one that we broadcasted from last year was awesome. It's right across the bay. It was the same day that the Yankees came into town, so there was a ton of people walking over to the ferry to try to get over to the park. It was great. Zen has a new name for our show. Champagne and Thai 10, which I think is kind of funny. Sammy, wherever Sammy goes, champagne flows. And then I ate a Thai 10, which people still don't give me credit for, even though it did happen. So I appreciate when people actually give me credit for it.
Before we, and we'll get into the segment here in a second, but yeah. I want to share what we talked about during the break because it's so random, but so funny.
Yes.
So Adam Klug walks into the studio. I don't know. He's talking about whatever. He walks out. And for some reason in my brain,
he's passing by the window right now on his phone.
For some reason in my brain, I thought to myself, and I said this out loud to Skraby, I said, if Adam were like an athlete, a player, like the crowd would go, Klug.
Totally. Klug. It's like there's so many guys that have that same sort of chant that happens, and it's like, come on, fans, come up with something better. Like, for Freiermuth, Pat Freiermuth, it's Muth, but Klug is a funny one. We should just every time Sam, you and I are together, and he walks by, we should just do that, and they'll have no idea what's happening.
We also wanted to know if Adam was in a frat.
I think he was. I just don't know which one. I was not in a frat.
We'll find out.
I was not
either.
I was not a frat guy. That is for sure. No frat guys over here. All right. So Bennett Woods, as you know, they are out in spring training in Peoria, Arizona, and they had the who's who of the Padres on their show today. So we're going to hit some traffic first, but on the other side of traffic, you're going to get Bennett Woods with Michael King. Everybody listen up, because Michael King, as Sam said, could be a top 3 Cy Young guy this year. So traffic, then Michael King.
Diego, after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. A couple of problems here. One of them is a crash on South 805 before El Cajon Boulevard, not showing if lanes are blocked. Got a collision on the Mollison Avenue off-ramp, eastbound 8. Also on the coastline, northbound 5, just past Harbor Drive. We have reports of a bumper in the second lane from the left, and there is a disabled car over to the right shoulder. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car, and it usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I know our next guest was down for a couple of days. It's the flu bug that kind of has hit a few guys, but he looks healthy now. He's back, and he is joining us here.
Michael King, was it the flu that got you, or was it just the Arizona wind and air?
I don't think it was the Arizona wind and air. I was shivering for like 36 hours with like a hoodie and sweatshirt. It wasn't fun.
Oh my God.
We're good.
Everything's good now.
Yeah, I got a little congestion, but you can probably hear it. So maybe work some magic on the sound bites there. Make me sound a little cooler.
Paulie is the wizard.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to work the magic for us yet.
No,
so
not yet, but it's fine. It's fine, man. It's good to see you again. Last year sitting down with you, getting to know you a little bit. Man, what a season for you. I mean, it was a delight to watch, and we've been talking about it all off season, and it's like when Michael King is on, he is the nastiest pitcher in baseball, dude, and it was a lot of fun to watch last year. We all expected really good things. Were you? I don't want to ask if you were surprised by how good your season went, but were you?
I guess I can't say I was surprised. Obviously, I try to put all the work in that I can
100%.
do, and I set hefty goals for myself every year. So I actually came up short of my 180 inning goal in the regular season, and then I wanted to get to 200.
That was a crazy goal.
Playoffs. Come on now. So now it's a 200 inning goal in the regular season. So I'm still trying to get to those levels. I had a great support staff with the other starters around me. Ruben was obviously great for me. Higgy was awesome for me coming in. So I had a lot of guys that kind of molded me into what I did last year.
How different though now? Because last year when we talked to you, you were introducing yourself to a new team, wanted to prove yourself as a full-time starter. It's very different this year around. They're expecting you to be part of that starting rotation, and obviously those goals are now more realistic coming back. So how different is this spring for you?
Definitely a little, just because I feel like I have a spot on the team. I feel like I can assume more of a leadership role. We have that fifth spot open, and a lot of guys that are, one, similar to me, but two, are guys that are in my in the same category as me, like Stephen Kolek coming from a relief role. I know Brito is kind of in that same position where he was a reliever for us last year. So there are guys that are making that transition that I did last year. So I'm trying to just be a guidance for them and see how good our fifth spot can be this year.
We were obviously, I think everybody was kind of wringing their hands in the off season, with the potential of you going into ARB. And I saw you on a podcast. I can't remember whose podcast it was. Kluber. And Kluber was asking you about the process, and I thought you handled it really well. I mean, you're like, yeah, this could happen, and we were kind of kicking around. What might one say to a Michael King in arbitration? Like, you're too good, and your hair is too good, and his teeth are too white, and he is.
Tyler, shut up over there.
You're too much of a bulldog.
Too much
on
of
the
community
mound.
with his foundation. It's really kind of annoying, actually.
Yeah. Yes, we need a little bit more dirt. Get your uniform a little more dirty.
Stuff's a little too nasty, actually.
But I thought your
making the other players look bad.
You guys are making me feel good.
I thought your perspective of when you said, "Look, this is the way it is," because they will use, or they will, at least the thread in there will be, well, we converted, we kind of don't know, I mean, I think that you've proven that, and they know that, and you ended up avoiding it anyway. But how what's that process like for you? You're like, all right, I may have to go sit in a room with this. It can't be fun.
Yeah, that was a conversation I had with my agent, because there are obviously the players that have okay years, and they can just for how bad your season was. And he was like, you won't be sitting in that room and getting ripped apart by whoever it is, the Padres.
I don't know. They've never done it under AJ.
So under AJ. So I don't think they know who it would be.
And so what he thought their main argument was going to be is just because I was coming from a lower salary. I was coming from a reliever salary.
Right.
And so that's partially why I was so stern on the number that I wanted to get to,
setting lofty goals.
But it's also just like, you want to break the system a little bit for the next reliever turn starter.
Sure.
And it's like, relievers get paid less than starters. It's a fact. And I didn't want to then continue to get screwed by getting paid like a reliever the whole time because I started as a reliever. So the argument was like, he already got screwed once for being paid like a reliever. don't let it happen again and let him get paid like a starter.
Yeah.
So
kind of the principle of the matter. Interesting. We're talking to Michael King, Padres, definitely starting pitcher here.
Starting pitch. Whoa,
On
starting
97th Street.
everybody.
Is there anything you're working on changing in terms of repertoire, or is it simply just refining what worked so well for you last year?
Honestly, it's still refining. I added that fifth pitch in like the little gyro slider I had last year. Didn't throw it very often, so I want to throw that a little bit more, but I also want to my main thing is I feel like with both fastballs, I can command the fastball in 4 quadrants. With the slider, sweeper, and changeup, I really only have like the strike pitch and the 2-strike pitch. I want to be able to throw the changeup to both sides of the plate. I want to be able to throw the sweeper actually elevated a little bit and for swing and miss away off the plate. I want to be able to throw it into lefties, away to lefties. There's so many different things that I need to feel comfortable with before I can add another pitch. And I felt like the little gyro slider was big for me just to steal some weird strikes or get soft contact. And now it's really just refining the command of all those pitches.
Do you, with a guy, and again, I would watch your 2-seam and I just go, my God, there's nobody's coming close to this thing. It was a marvel. That game you threw against the Dodgers, it was just like it was a work of art. It really was. I think about it all the time. And do you chase velo? Are you in the off season? I would love to add a tick here and there. I'm going to get in my legs more, whatever it may be, strengthen my core and try to get an extra tick on the fastball.
I think everybody would like to have an extra tick.
Sure.
I don't know if there's anybody out there that wants to lose velo or are we good? Sorry. But my main thing with my fastball velocity is to make sure that I have enough. I know I'm not going to be that Dylan Cease throwing 100 in the seventh inning, freaking nut. But if I have the mid 90s fastball, but can still keep the movement of it, and then use that to have my other pitchers get some deception, then it's fine. So my thing is actually more just a mechanical thing. I need to have that late hand speed. I need to hide the ball. I need to command it and get into my front hip. And those things I know when they're there, the velocity will be mid 90s. And I know that as of now, I'll knock on wood, it's helped me through. It's serviced me.
Michael, I wanted to ask you about one of your new teammates, Nick Pivetta, who I assume you saw in the AL East when he was pitching for Boston a few times. He's only been here a little bit of time, but what are your first impressions? I know he's supposedly kind of an intense competitor out there. What have you seen so far?
Yeah, obviously playing against him, you see that. There's been a lot of the position players on the team that I was on say they hate facing him just because he's that like ultra competitor. He's the one that's grunting on a changeup. He's the one that's like strutting around the mound. I call it like prime Scherzer, which Scherzer's on like his 20K games. He's like strutting around the mound like he's about to. It's like a feral beast,
like a madman,
And it was kind of funny because yesterday he threw a live BP.
We were there,
right there.
We saw it,
and he's
doing
doing
it. Chirping. It was Tim and Toddy, and they were chirping. It was unbelievable. It was
fun.
It was like theater.
Joe said, and I totally agree with him, he can't wait for a start day because he wants to drink like 3 Red Bulls and get on the same wavelength as him and be like strutting around with Pivetta.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's a fun start day now for a guy like that.
And we talked to Joe Musgrove yesterday. We're talking to Michael King right now, and we were asking Joe too about the losing Higgy. We loved Higgy. He was the best. This is a great dude, a great human being, and a great catcher, and had a monster year.
Yep.
Contributed a ton for you. So now you're going to have to work with other catchers as well. Do you think about that a lot, or do you say, hey man, this is what it is, and we got to get on the same page. We got to do it quick.
Definitely the latter. Obviously, Higgy was great. I was in a locker room with him, I think, for 8 straight years, which is kind of fun. And he's such a great dude. You know him,
he's
so he's great to have in the locker room. He definitely missed. But, I worked with Campy last year. I actually don't think I worked with Diaz in a game last year. He caught a couple bullpens of mine. Sully, I worked with a bunch. So it's like I already have a decent rapport with them. But I also think that a guy like Higgy, how he commands a staff trickles down to the next guys.
Sure.
I think I thought it was huge for even like an Ethan Salas to see how he worked, because Salas is coming soon, and it's like you have this veteran guy that knows how to handle a staff, that can call a game, that can separate offense and defense and go out there and have an awesome season. So I think a lot of those guys probably learned from a guy like Higgy, and I now I just can't wait to work with them.
Did any of them learn how to play The Trooper by Iron Maiden? Because that's what I'm going to miss the most about Higgy is talking guitars with him in the clubhouse. Like me and him he's the only big leaguer I've ever met that likes heavy metal like I do. Literally the only one. Everybody else likes country or rap or whatever.
Yep.
And that's why I fell in love with the dude, because I love heavy metal too. And he's a guitar player. And nobody else. Who's going to shred in the clubhouse this year? Quiet. It's just going to be quiet.
It's going to be quiet. It's going to be dead silent.
Dead silent.
Oh, man.
Last thing for me, Michael, and this is probably the tough one at the end. Last year of arbitration.
Oh,
so
boy.
Obviously, we don't know what happens after 2025.
We would like to offer you a contract right now.
Well, yeah,
for Better Woods and
I mean, if we could, you start the foundation, you're putting some roots down in San Diego. We'd love to see you stay.
That's our pitch.
You had to be a little bit flexible, even to get the 1-year arbitration deal done. We saw some of the funny things that had to do with that contract. We don't know what the Padres in terms of financially, but have there been any talks, any discussion about anything long term yet?
There has not been anything.
Nothing yet.
No. Obviously, I love San Diego. Team's great, front office is great, but
sounds good. See, he's back.
Anything.
He's coming back. That's it. He said it right here.
Well, all we can hope is that the price tag keeps going up and up and up this year. As this Michael King has another
that's what he wants.
Fantastic season. So make it hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Thank you. And if I don't get a contract, I'll just come work for you guys.
That's fine.
Fair enough
for us, man.
Thanks so much. Good luck. Anything new on the foundation? I keep seeing your posts. You guys are doing a lot of good work.
The Padres have been great. We're now in heavy discussions. I think we finalized today, but I don't want to say it for our foundation event this year.
Okay.
We're also going to do a little something at the ballpark, so it's going to be a great season.
We will stay tuned for that. Thank you, Michael. Good to see you again.
Thanks,
as always. Michael King, Padres starting pitcher, joining us.
That was Michael King. He was great. And I just
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I should have yeah, okay. We're good. That's just a little bit of an inside joke.
Great interview.
Right
Great interview. Great interview with
Michael King. When we get back, I promise we won't be giggling like this, but we will talk about Michael King's contract and a possible extension here on 97.
Listeners out there, you're never going to know what we were laughing about, and you're not going to know about it when we get back.
Of Sammy and Skraby here on 97.3 The Fan. Tony Gwynn Jr. making his way back to Peoria, Arizona from Mesa, Arizona. And we're going to talk about Michael King here. We're going to just kind of do a roundup of stories of the day. So Michael King with Ben and Woods at the end said that there have been no discussions, Sam, with Michael King for a contract extension. I don't think that we kind of expected. I don't know that we expected for a contract extension, but the more I think about it, the more I think they have to make this happen before the season starts, before he has another incredible season and his price goes way up.
Well, look, I would love it because I think the world of Michael King. I think the best has yet to come with Michael King. I think he's just getting started as a really, really, really good starting pitcher in this league. The question is going to come down to, look, I'm sure AJ Preller and the Padres would love to keep him around for a long time. But if Michael goes out and has a season like he did a year ago, Michael King's going to get a big-time contract next offseason. I'm talking $100+ million type of deal. So you'd love to get it done before the season comes, because maybe you could get some sort of bargain, some sort of, not discount, but you could get him before hypothetically he goes out and has another great year, which, if you're the Padres, you want him to do because he's pitching for you, even if it means the price goes up. I think the question becomes, we know with some of the financial limitations the Padres have been under this offseason, are they in any kind of position to execute on something like that? And look, we'll see what the situation is next offseason. There's a ton of money coming off the books. Right now, they're above the luxury tax first threshold, which a couple of weeks ago, I don't think anybody, I don't want to say not that anybody saw it coming, but I think there were major doubts whether they would be able to do that. And at this moment, they are. And seemingly no trade to get back under it is imminent. So I think there's a pretty solid chance they're going to start the year above that first threshold. So, you never know. Could something get done during the season? If Michael King is having a great year, look, if I'm him, I want to go to free agency, right? If he's having a great year, in my mind, if I'm Michael King, I'm going to free agency.
Yeah, you're going to make. That's where you're going to make the money.
I want to play out the market. That's where you're going to make the most money. So I would probably, for that reason, think it's a little unlikely, both because of what the Padres have been limited by financially, and also because of the quality of pitcher Michael King is, and what he could get in the open market next offseason. But I would say this: if Michael King was open to an extension right now, and if the Padres could figure out a way to do it, then I'm 100% signing up for that. Now, we talk about his value being the highest in the open market. This you can play the other side of that coin, and certainly I'm not wishing this on Michael King, but if Michael King doesn't have the same kind of year, then it's his free agency is going to be very, very interesting, because he's going to have 2 years of starting under his belt. He'd have one great year. And again, I'm not wishing this on him. I'm just playing hypotheticals. And then one not so good year. And I don't know what the open market at that point would really make of Michael King. He'd be a very interesting free agent. So of course I'd be interested. Look, there would be an argument for him to try to get a deal done and guarantee himself a good chunk of money, even if it's not what he would get on the open market after a great year. But there's an argument to that for sure. There's always an argument if you're a player to secure guaranteed money when you can. There's always that argument. So I'd love it. I don't know if it's realistic right now, but I think on the field, I'm fairly confident in saying that Michael's going to have a really, really nice second year as a starter. I don't see any reason why he's not going to have a really good year.
And I know that this doesn't really mean anything in the full scheme of things, but he really has put down some roots in San Diego. He started that foundation that the Padres are helping him with. And so it's not like he's just here as a rental in San Diego. It seems like he's actually making himself part of San Diego. And again, you can take your foundation anywhere, but he did start it here, and I'm sure he started here for a reason because he wanted to start it in San Diego.
Yeah, I think Michael really likes being here. That's the sense I got last year. That's the sense that you got from that interview. So I think he really likes being here. I also think that, he's a baseball player, and when he's a free agent, I think where the best offer is going to speak loud to him.
Yes.
So we'll see. Look, if you're the Padres, like Ben and Woods alluded to at the end of that, at the end of the interview, look, you are rooting for Michael King to drive his price up because you want him to be good this year for you. So look, if he drives his price up, he drives his price up. That's a good problem to have.
Very good.
Good for Michael if he does that. So look, I would love it if they could figure out a way to get it done, because I think Michael's going to be a really good starting pitcher for a really long time. Like I said earlier, to me, when I look at those Cy Young odds, and we were looking at the odds a little bit earlier and kind of determining where the best value would be odds wise if you were a betting man, I think there's tremendous value on Michael King.
Plus 2,200.
To me, he's not yet, I suppose, to a lot of people, the household name, but to me, he's got Cy Young caliber stuff, no doubt, like dominant Cy Young caliber stuff. So we'll see.
Joseph says on the chat, I think a majority of people want the extension to go to King overseas. Please, please, please bring King back. I get that sentiment as well, like the feeling out there, but I don't know why, because Dylan Cease is good. And I think Dylan Cease is a little bit, he was less consistent at the end of the year, so maybe that's part of it.
Yeah. If I had to pick one, I'd say King. It's an interesting question. Look, for as much as I'm loving on Michael King here on this show today, and it's all deserved, it's rightfully so, Michael's also got to prove it again this year. I mean, this is sort of the next step for Michael King, and I have no doubt that if he's healthy, he can. But he's got to prove it. I mean, that is a part of this. There is no guarantee that he goes out and he's as good as a year ago. And let's not forget, there were some struggles for Michael King early last season where he gave up a lot of home runs. And he figured it out, and he settled in, and he was great. I mean, he was tremendous for a 3-4 month stretch and into the postseason. So he's still got something to prove. I think the thing with Michael King is I don't know that we really know what his ceiling is yet, and like what he ultimately can be. Dylan Cease, I think at his peak is obviously unbelievable. I mean, as dominant gets in the major leagues. He was up and down last year, though. I mean, there were stretches where you couldn't hit him. There were stretches where it wasn't nearly as great. So he was a little bit more roller coastery, and the last couple of years for Dylan Cease have been a little bit more up and down. So you can make that argument, but I would say that I think we have a better idea of Dylan's ceiling and kind of who he is. So you can make the argument, like you could sell me on, well, I kind of know what Dylan Cease is. I know what he is at his peak. Michael King, I've seen one season of it, but before I'm going to hand him, $100+ million, I want to see it again. And that's fair. I lean King personally. If I had to pick between the two, no disrespect to Cease.
Yeah, no, there is none.
I think I'd lean King, but yeah. It's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
Bottom line is this. If you're the Padres, you want those guys driving up their price this year, because that means both have been really, really good, and they need those guys to be really, really good.
Eddie said, who had more playoff wins in 2024? The answer, obviously, is Michael King, but who had the no-hitter in 2024? Dylan Cease. So there's benefits to each side. I do think Michael King's outing against the Braves is what people are thinking about in the wild card round. I think it was 7+ innings, maybe 11 strikeouts. He was just incredible. And Dylan Cease, he started that game against the Dodgers on short rest, put the Padres in trouble early, and I think that's what maybe fans are latching on there. And Dylan Cease is not a bad pitcher because he let the Dodgers into the game early. Dylan Cease was throwing on short rest. There was a lot there when he did that. And so I can't think that you're going to judge him off of that performance alone.
No, Dylan hasn't had a premier start in the playoffs yet, including, I think, the one he made with the White Sox. look, if
The
if
White Sox made
Padres
the
make
playoffs in the last like 5 years.
No. Yes.
Wow.
In 20, they made it in 22.
I believe you. I believe you. It's just crazy.
Yeah. No, Dylan definitely made a playoff start with them. I think that was 22.
I'll look it up.
Could have been 21 even. I think it was 22. Yeah, look it up. Off the top of my head, I think it's 22. But yeah, I mean, look, you would love to have either of those guys long term. We'll see if the Padres make the playoffs again. They're gonna, turn to Dylan Cease to be one of those guys that comes up with big time performances. So that would be good. We're a long ways away from having to worry about that. A lot of games to play before that. So we'll see. But you would love to have either of those guys for the long term. And I think it depends how they pitch, what their value is at the end of the year, what their potential contracts look like at the end of the year, and what the Padres' financial situation is, and what they're willing to spend, and if they have the ability to dole out that kind of deal. Because I think no doubt if both of those guys are pitching to pretty close to their peak powers this season, those are going to be hefty contracts. Those are going to be $100+ million contracts for sure for both those guys, I would think.
I mean, if you're looking at his postseason pitching log, Dylan Cease, you're right. It was 2021, but he's made the playoffs 3 separate seasons, 2020, 2021, and then last year, 2024. But he has struggled in the playoffs. The furthest he's gone into a game is 3 1/3 in 4 starts.
Yeah. It's funny. Brian in the chat, and I'm going to put this up, is asking, you think King would take the Musgrove special 5 years, $100 million?
No.
Well, here's what I would say. At this moment, before this season, Brian, I think he'd heavily consider it. I mean, if you were guaranteeing $100 million to a guy who has 1 year of starting experience,
he may see that as valuable.
I think you're taking that if you're Michael King, in my opinion. If you could guarantee 100 after you've started for 1 season, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think the Padres would offer that much. Like, I think that might be even a little high.
Honestly,
I do, and I think the world of Michael King. I do. I think that would be a little high, in the dollar number, maybe a little high. If I were Michael King, I'm taking that.
I quickly said no, but you're probably right. I mean, and even if he takes money and he outpitches the contract, he still is able to renegotiate a contract of 5 years.
He's
and
still at 100.
Pitchers can pitch until they're 35, 40 sometimes now.
Right. It's also not, I don't think it's all that dissimilar from Joe's situation at the time, where Joe was really, really good. And if he hit the open market, depending on what happened, maybe he ends up getting more than 100, but at the time, was guaranteeing himself $100 million. I think in retrospect, just looking at Joe's injury, I mean, look, this would have happened well after his free agency at this point. But look, he guaranteed himself $100 million. So I do think there's value in that. If the Padres put 5 years, $100 million in front of Michael King today, I would think there's a really good chance King would take that.
My Spot Track, I love the Spot Track market value of contracts, and they're saying that his market value is 4 years and around $72 million, which is 17.8.
Right, so that's pretty much, that's close. Yeah, I mean, that's, add on a year and a little bit more money, and that's going to be around that AAV. So, look, the risk I think Michael would run, and how old is Michael King? Off the top of my head, I want to say he's 20
right here. If he's 29,
he's 28.
29. Oh, wait, that's right. I forgot. We have the same birthday, and we're 10 years apart.
He's going to turn 30 in May.
May 25th.
So he'll be a 30-year-old free agent. Oh, I'm taking that if I'm Michael King.
Yeah, that does change some things.
Yeah, now the only risk he would run with that is he has an amazing Cy Young season this year, which he's certainly capable of. And he could get even more in the open market at 30 years old and sign a 4, 5, 6 year deal, for upwards of $100 million. But, you run the risk of the season not going that way.
Yeah,
so,
totally. No, it's a really, really amazing problem for Michael King to have. I would love to be able to be like, should I take my $100 million now, or should I pitch next year or this year and hope for a $35 million AAV next year? I mean, It's a good spot to be in. All right, Sammy and Skraby, 97.3 The Fan. Tony should be joining us shortly. Sam won the bet. I said he was going to be here by 4, and he was not here by 4, so Sam wins that one. But he'll be with us until Tony gets here. Coming up next, we'll talk a little bit about some of the random stories of the day. And also, we have at the end of the hour the Big Five, so stick around for that. But
More Taylor Swift.
More Taylor Swift.
Yes, that's
that's
the
right.
story I'm looking at.
Okay, right now, we'll get to that. Right now is your second and final chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to a Padres spring training game at the Peoria Sports Complex, and you're also qualified for the grand prize, 4 tickets to the Padres and Guardians game at Petco Park on April 2nd. Get your spring training tickets now at PeoriaBaseball.com. Your chance is now. Caller number 3. And that stands for Jackson Merrill's number, 833-288-0973. Call us now.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
There's a Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble. And Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well. But our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Scrape. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
We are just around League 10 now, and it's getting really windy. It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my defense. There's a squirrel. He wants to attack me. Squirrely! We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after.
It was a 5-footer.
After our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Scrappy, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course. And we ended up shooting 63 once everything was accounted for, since it was a scramble and we had an SDSU golf player, Jack Townsend. He was with us and he did a lot for us. I think we shot 63 because of him, but we all had a good time. There's a Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble. And Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well. But our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's He is the winner of the Peoria Sports Complex ticket package. We will have, I believe, one more tomorrow. So keep an ear out. We'll be trying to get you to Peoria, and also those Padres and Guardians tickets on April 2nd, I believe, is what that was. Yes, April 2nd. Coming up at 5:30, remember to listen for your name, and we will announce the biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a future Padres game. Register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. Now, Sam told me something in the break. He needs to get something he saw on Facebook. Out there.
Yeah, it was really funny. And since we're not doing dating advice today, it just
we
made
didn't
me
decide
laugh.
that.
Well, we had a free segment here, so and we didn't know what to talk about. So I got an ad on my Facebook, and I rarely go on Facebook, I should mention.
I never go on Facebook.
It says, calling all singles in San Diego. Attention, 30-ish straight men. Are you a single guy who is 30-ish and somewhat decent at cornhole?
What? This is an ad?
What? Yeah, I guess it's a dating cornhole event. Won't find me there.
You won't find me there either, but I get it, but that is such a strange thing to read.
I know. I was like, what is this?
If you're a 30-ish, straight guy and you're good at cornhole, this is the meetup for you.
Apparently.
I'm not good at cornhole.
I'm not clicking on that link. I'm scared.
I'm not good at cornhole. Have you been getting these texts lately,
I was like,
Sam?
what is this?
Have you been getting these texts? Because I get a lot of like random texts from people I don't know, and it's very like normal conversation. Like someone texted me last week saying, "Hey, I'm coming to San Diego next week. Can we get dinner?" ? And I didn't know the number in my phone, so of course they want you to write back and say, "Hey, who is this?" And then they'll like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's the wrong number," and then they'll try to.
I get those all the time.
Yeah, they'll try to scam you. It's so weird though, because I'm sitting there thinking, do I know this person? Is someone actually coming to San Diego? I got another one that was like, oh, hey, what are you doing on Friday night? It would be nice to meet up. And I'm thinking, there is no woman in this world that's texting me that. So this has got to be fake. It's got to be fake. It's kind of weird though. It's very weird. Very weird.
Yeah, I get those.
And do you respond to them? Because you're not supposed to respond to them.
Sometimes I play with them a little bit.
You do?
Yeah, sometimes.
Like what?
Well, I'm trying to find a text. Like, what do they usually say? They usually say like party. Like, oh, do you remember me from the party?
Yeah, that's exactly one of them for sure.
Yeah, they sometimes say like, do you remember me from the party? So I want to search words in my phone. It'll be like, hi, is this Brenda? I'll be like, yeah, this is Brenda. I'll be like, do you remember me from the party? I'll be like, what party? Jim's party last weekend. They're like, oh, that was really fun. Yeah, I play with them.
That's pretty good.
But I'm always afraid with those that somehow during the course of the conversation they're somehow hacking into my phone.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is that sometimes now you can
somehow
click a
hacking
thing.
into my phone.
Yeah, you can type back or whatever, and you could do that, but it takes a little bit. When I was a drinker, my friends hated when I used to get too drunk and embarrass myself. So they played a trick on me one day, and it was a really, really, really good trick. And I didn't know, I didn't remember the night before. So they had someone random call me the next day and be like, hey, we met in the bar last night, and they gave me the bar. They gave me like where we were at the bar. And you were just one of the best people I've ever met. I really, really need to meet up with you again. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, man, this is great. Like, I don't remember anything. This is awesome. So I'm like, all right, let's meet up. And then, like after about 10 minutes, my friend texted me, haha, stop getting so drunk at the bar. That was my friend, but not a very good joke. I was very upset about that joke, but there you go. Brandon said, I got a new scam text today about a job for TikTok corporate working at home. I have got job text too. So let's see. There was another one. Oh, M. McKee said she's still getting a lot
I got
of
that.
ones.
Oh, Dominic's saying Dominic saying I get the toll road
Yes.
scam text. I got that the other day.
Yes. We talked about this a couple weeks ago when Braden was on the show. I have been trying to pay my toll road bill from Christmas, and I couldn't for the longest time, and they were trying to get money. A listener contacted the toll people of California, and the toll people of California got back to the listener and said they're going to look into it. Our listener
Really?
sent the radio segment to this toll road people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Those toll roads, I've had to do those a couple of times. And I find that whole thing weird because like they don't actually send it if you don't have the pass, they don't actually send you a bill saying, "Oh, this is what you owe."
No,
you're
have to
just
go
expected
seek it
to
out.
pay
Yeah.
it. Right, you have to go seek it out, and if you don't seek it out and pay it, then they tell you, "Oh, you're late." If you don't pay it, there's going to be a lien on your car. Like
Yeah.
that whole thing, that's ridiculous to me. That you have to go seek it out. That they don't send you some sort of bill.
I mean, because they don't really notify you. They do notify you when you're getting on the road, but I could see how people wouldn't know once they got on a toll road that it was a toll road and that they had to pay.
Right.
So I know that Braden got one up in Irvine, and he just was like, "I'm not going to pay it." So it's like, that's not the way to go, Braden. But
Yeah.
I ended up finally paying mine, but it took me over a month.
Adam is saying you get a
letter
letter
in the mail. I did.
in the mail. But
I did.
here's the thing: I've never got a letter in the mail from that says, "Oh, you went through such and such on such and such road on this date. This is what you owe. Pay it by this date."
I got one of those.
I only get the "You're late. You haven't paid it." I never get the initial "Here's what you need to pay."
Well, that's weird. Where is your car registered to your address, or is it registered somewhere else? Because if it's registered
No, it's
somewhere
registered.
else, it'll okay. That
No.
is weird.
I get the mail saying you need to pay. Anyway.
No, because they
don't know what
sent me a sheet that had like a picture of my license plate in my car driving through the bridge toll, and so it gave me my invoice
interesting.
number too.
Huh.
Yeah, but
I don't
they
know.
do
Maybe
that.
the only time I've ever done this is that one road to the right to the east of the 5. That sometimes, like if you follow a GPS that takes you the fastest way, and you say, "Oh, I'm okay with tolls."
Oh yeah. There's a toll road I always take up in Irvine, but it's because my family lives off of the toll road, so I have to do that. Anyway,
I'm up to date on all my tolls.
Yes, I'm up to date on my tolls too. So let's just knock on wood, make sure I'm good on that. Johnny says if you really owe, they will send you a letter in the mail. Yes, I know.
That's what I've got.
All right. Well, there we go. Toll Talk.
All right,
There's our
great
show
radio.
name. Toll Talk. That's our show name. All right. On the other side, we will talk about Travis Kelce. We will talk about a lot of stuff in the Big Five. There are rumors about a new NBA All-Star festivity, and the PGA Tour had something happen today that has only happened 15 times in the history of the PGA Tour. Are you grunting because you're not a fan of the All-Star thing, or what?
The NBA All-Star game was awful.
Okay.
And I'm not, you know me, I'm not a golf guy, so you can handle that one.
Calm down. It's not like an actual
do a pickleball topic.
I will search for a pickleball topic in the break.
You know what? Next segment we're going to squeeze that in. I have a lot of feelings on pickleball here in Arizona.
All right. Sounds good. We'll talk about that on the other side.
I'm very unhappy with what's going on.
Gwynn and Chris on the Fan.
Sam, have you ever been to Jamaica?
Nope.
Me neither. But I would love to hear some steel drums in Jamaica. That is for sure. Sammy and Skraby, 97.3 The Fan. Now, I think we probably need to get right to the Big Five because we have a huge pickleball topic. So let's waste no time. Here's Kelly Danick, then the Big Five.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by Crystal Geyser, Alpine Spring. Got a few problems here, guys. One of them is this crash blocking the HOV lane, South 805 before Sorrento Valley Road. Freeway Service Patrol running a brake to clear that over to the right shoulder. Stalled pickup truck blocking the right lane, East 52 past Santo Road. And stalled vehicle southbound 5428th Street. That's been moved over to the right shoulder. What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water different? They always bottle their Alpine Spring Water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And all their bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from their own recycling plants. Crystal Geyser, bottled at the spring source. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Okay. The Big Five, we all know what it's all about. Let's just get into it because we need to talk about something.
Number 5.
And then I'm going to ask Sam a question at the end. So, Sam, the floor is yours. What is it that you want to get out about Arizona pickleball?
You said this was going to be in the Big Five.
We are in a topic of the Big Five. And then I'm going to ask you the question.
What I wanted to get out quickly, I expressed this today earlier. In San Diego, for you San Diego pickleballers out there, you know what I'm talking about. You go to an open play. You've got whatever number of courts that you're using. You line up your paddles, and the 4 people that are in line, you play in some combination of teams.
Okay.
And the next 4 people after that, and the next 4 paddles after that. This is easy. It's fun. It's, maybe you're doing win or stay on, so it's 2 paddles, but just 4 paddles, 4 paddles, 4 paddles. You play. You're there to play. Quick games. Let's get a workout in. Bang, bang, bang.
Bada bing, bada
Here
bing.
in Arizona, I've been to 2 places now. 2 open play places. I'm not going to name the names. I don't know what's going on. Some people only want to play with other people. The paddle rack is all weird with letters and numbers, and there's a clip, and I don't know what's going on. Then, people are standing around. They don't know where to go, where to play. Some people are waiting to play with this person, and these 2 only want to play together. But so convoluted, makes it legitimately not nearly as fun. Yesterday, I was playing pickleball for an hour and a half to 2 hours. I played a grand total of 4 matches, which is really not a lot.
What do you guys usually play up to?
11.
11, and that's like a standard score?
Yes.
And then how many rounds do you play? How do you, is it like tennis
1.
in that way?
I don't know about major league pickleball, but in just recreational pickleball, typically you play one match, 1 game.
Well, okay, so that doesn't seem like a lot of
try
exercise.
to explain. No, it depending on the game, it can be a very quick.
I get it. Okay.
Or it could be a little bit longer.
Okay. All
it
right.
Depends. It depends on the competition. Depends on how competitive the game is.
But once
back
the
and
game
forth
is over, you could just restart another game.
Of course.
Okay.
You also only score points when you have the serve. I could get into the.
So it's like
the
volleyball
details
a little
of
bit.
pickleball right now. I'm not going to, but yeah, I'm really bummed out about the whole pickleball scene I've seen so far here.
Someone
Totally
who
out of
said
my
that,
element.
Nate says that's zonies for you.
Shout out to Mission Beach, Mission Bay Resort, San Diego pickleball.
Pickleball is becoming such a huge thing that my cousin in Cincinnati, her tennis club, changed all of the courts to pickleball courts. There is no more tennis being played at the tennis club.
I believe it.
That's insane.
Now I love tennis too. But a lot of tennis centers at least are creating pickleball courts because
it's popular.
It's all the rage. Hey,
all right. Here's the Big
gotta make
5
money.
question. Should pickleball be an Olympic sport, Mr. Sam Levitt?
Sure.
I don't know. I guess if
it's
breaking is in it,
it's a
then
sport.
then pickleball has to be in it.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, the bar for Olympic sport does not always rest on like unbelievable athletic ability. I mean, I hate to say that because it's the Olympics, but you know,
they have badminton.
I guess every sport requires some different kind of athletic ability, right?
Of course, yeah.
Pickleball is very athletic. Yeah, why not? It's widespread, global sport, very popular.
I think that's the main
There
part.
is Major League Pickleball. There is like the PPA, which is, I don't even know what that stands for. There are like professional pickleballers now.
The Pickleball Players Association,
Something like that. But yeah, I'd love it. I'd watch it. Sometimes I'll watch pickleball like online.
Get some tips for your own
In
play.
fact, I know there's a tournament here coming up soon that somebody told me I should go to see pickleball live, which I've never done.
You should go. Why not? That
Yeah,
might be fun. All right. Yeah, let's make it a sport, everybody.
Number 4.
Travis Kelce ain't done yet. Pat McAfee revealed a text exchange with Travis Kelce confirming he would be back with the Chiefs in 2025. The text read, quote, "My dog, I'm coming back for sure. Gonna try and get into the best shape I've been this offseason and get back to the mountaintop. Got a real bad taste in my mouth with how I played in that last game and how I got the guys ready for battle. I can't go out like that," end quote. I'm up first. Do you think he has a better year next year? I do. I do think he has a better year next year. He did not play well in the Super Bowl. I kind of said this at the beginning of the year, but the summer of Swift is already out of the way. He's already done his whole summer where he flies around the world with her. So I believe it. I believe that he's going to work out this entire offseason to try to reclaim the title of being the best tight end in the NFL. I don't know if he can quite be the best, but I do think he's still top 3 for sure in the NFL. Sam?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to. How old is he?
He's like in his late 30s, 36 maybe.
Yeah, he's 35. Look, I think it's hard to imagine that he's gonna get better. Could he be more productive? Sure, but you know, he also doesn't need to be the Travis Kelce of 5 years ago in order for the Chiefs to win a Super Bowl, right? To me, you know, I think the Chiefs need to do a better job of putting more around Patrick Mahomes. They've got a great defense. You know, it's just not a super and I know it's hard because Mahomes makes so much money. And it's hard when your quarterback makes a lot of money now. They've got to figure it out because, you know, look, they won 2 Super Bowls with not a whole lot around him.
Yep.
And now that Kelce is getting older and maybe he's at the finish line, he's just not going to be that guy. They've got to do a better job. So I don't think they can't win if Kelce isn't better, but I find it hard to believe that Kelce in a 13th season is all of a sudden going to find the fountain of youth.
That's fair. It is fair. I do like watching Travis Kelce play, but this year was a struggle. He was a step slow all season long. And in the Super Bowl, I mean, you know how those people do those breakdowns, Sam, like fans go and get all the film. Whoever did this breakdown did a really good job of making him look terrible.
Yep. I saw that video where
he missed the block and he let Patrick Mahomes get killed.
Yeah, in those blocking schemes, he was just slow. He was just slow getting out of the break and it was not the break, but getting out of the stance.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know that he needs to be the Travis Kelce of old in order for the Chiefs to be really, really good.
All right, last thing on this. Dan said something really funny on the chat. He found the fountain of Swift. That's why he sucks now. That's pretty good.
No, I like Taylor Swift.
I do too.
Number 3.
I'm cool with Taylor.
And I've said this on many occasions. I think their love is real. I don't think that's staged whatsoever. It can't be. You can't just pretend like you're dating someone.
Put it this way. You would never, ever find me booing Taylor Swift at a Super Bowl.
Oh, I wouldn't either. I
would give her a standing ovation. Standing ovation for Miss Swift.
There are rumors the 2026 NBA All-Star festivities will focus all on Taylor Swift. No, I'm just kidding. They are going to change once again, and it's rumored there is going to be a one-on-one tournament for $1 million. Suns' Kevin Durant said he would want to play for $1 million and referenced Jason Tatum, Kyrie Irving, also Joel Embiid, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, guys that he would want to play. Now, he also said, I have no idea if I would win this thing, but I would definitely want to play it. Sam, would you be into this one-on-one for $1 million?
I would, although my prediction on this, if it happens, is that no players that you actually want to see play are going to play in that tournament.
You're probably right. It's going to be all the
because I don't think anybody
warmers.
wants to lose. I don't think anybody wants to look bad. I think there's a case to be made that one-on-one, there are probably guys in the league that aren't nearly as good NBA players that probably could beat guys that are much better NBA players one-on-one. Because I think it's two totally different things. My prediction is it's going to be like the dunk contest. I think a lot of guys don't want to play, don't want to be ridiculed if they lose, don't want to lose those games. I like the idea. I think it'd be new and entertaining, but I just predict you're going to have trouble getting the participation you want. I really wish they would just do away with all this stuff. Just play an all-star game. Even if it's not great, even like this whole idea, like it was brutal to watch. That I was casually watching. I had no idea what was going on.
Well, they changed the
as
format,
somebody who
so
didn't
that's
as somebody who didn't really follow the format switch, I found it unbelievably confusing. I was casually watching. It was impossible to know what was going on.
I agree
make an
with
East
you.
team, make a West team, play the game. Stop trying to recreate the wheel. It'll be what it is. It's an all-star game. It is what it is.
Yeah,
we used to have all-star games that were like not that competitive for a while. Then things would kind of turn up in the fourth quarter. Like you could do that again. It doesn't need to be this like unbelievable 48-minute game.
I'm with you. The NBA, I do like that they try new things because they do. And they ditch the things that don't work and they try to improve the things that do. This one, I don't care about seeing guys play for $1 million. They already make so much money. Why do I care about them playing for $1 million?
Look, if they could get stars to play one-on-one, and I mean stars, like having Kevin Durant
Steph,
play against Giannis, having Anthony Edwards play against
SGA,
Jalen Brunson, SGA playing against Luka, LeBron. Take your pick. Then I think that's worth watching for sure. But I just have a funny feeling that a lot of these guys don't want to play. I will say this though, baseball has at this point, I think the best all-star festivities. Home run derby is still really good. And the all-star game is still competitive. Guys, baseball, you can't not try. It's one of those sports you can't not try. So it's competitive. You see guys trying. I think baseball's got it right now as far as the best all-star format, which is good for them.
I think you're right. And it's kind of strange. The sport that plays the most games does the best with an added week, basically.
Number 2.
Former Laker, now Maverick, Max Christie has spoken out about what it was like to be in the whirlwind Luka Doncic trade. He said, quote, "If you look at the magnitude of that trade, it magnifies that emotion. So I was shocked, man. I was on the floor in the hotel room for 2 hours just thinking about what was going on. I eventually came to my senses, obviously, and had to put one foot in front of the other and think about what I needed to do next," end quote. I'm at first, do you have sympathy for these players who are traded? Because commenters on social media do not have sympathy. I do. I do have sympathy for these guys in a certain way. The way of it's a shock to the system. You have to immediately wrap your mind around moving somewhere else, playing on another team. But I'm not going to feel really terrible for them because everybody switches jobs all the time. It's not that big of a deal, but I don't think it's a nothing burger. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I think the easy way out of this question is to say, these guys are making so much money. Like, when am I going to feel bad for you? Because you got to switch cities to play this game where you make so much money. That would be the really easy answer. Look, there's a human element to this stuff. So, I do feel for those guys, when you have to move your family. It's a shock. It's emotional. I get it. So, yes, I do have some sympathy, although I will admit that they're going to be just fine. And day to day, people
You're
deal
still
with
playing in the
far
NBA.
worse.
Yeah. Yes, that is very true.
Number 1.
All right, the PGA Tour has moved to the East Coast. In the Cognizant Classic, Jake Knapp had 12 birdies en route to the 15th sub-60 round on the PGA Tour in history. Now, one of our listeners, Michael, asked me on Twitter, he asked me a different question. I'm going to ask 2 questions. What would we shoot on a PGA Tour course from the tips? And then he asked, would we break 60 if we putted on each green from the farthest point away. Sam doesn't play, so I'll just go with this. I thought this was going to be a Tony question too. What would I shoot on a PGA Tour course from the tips? I played one course in San Francisco called Lake Merced, and it was set up for an LPGA Tour tournament, and I shot 128. I don't think that people realize how difficult a PGA Tour golf course is. You're not just carrying 200 and something yards or 180 yards. You're carrying 300 yards at certain points. And so 128 was my score. Now, the putting thing, I'm a pretty good putter. And if you have 18 holes, sub 60, I could probably do the putting under 60 because I am a good lag putter and all that. But 59 is insane. Insane. Like, I cannot believe that a human being is able to do that. All right, that's it for the Big Five. On the other side, recapping today's Padres game, and we'll find out where Tony is on 97.3 The Fan. Hey, it's Skraby here, and we're building...
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
But they are today's bad boys. 2-2 to Wall, launched in the air, deep to right field. Avens is back to watch this one. Gonna go! Second straight day with a homer for Forrest Wall. And the Padres take a 2-0 lead here in the third.
There you go. Forrest Wall, second home run in as many days. So Padres put in 2 more runs there in the third inning, but they go on to lose the game to the A's. I believe it was 6-4. So spring training game, so it doesn't matter. I'm joined by Sam Levitt here, Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us shortly. But what?
Well, the actual results don't matter, but, to Forrest Wall, who's trying to make a team, it does matter.
Well, I don't know what to say anymore because every time I get excited about stuff, people are like, well, you do realize that the spring training doesn't matter. Yes, I do realize that. And every time I tell anyway. There was some good results today, though, Sam. I mean, some of the mainstay pitchers were in there early.
Matt Waldron, yeah. I didn't see any of it because I was
it wasn't televised,
ready
really.
I guess it wasn't, huh?
No, it was like radio-only type of broadcasts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a rarity. That's a rarity today.
I don't know who was filming it for the Padres, but it was like
from
the stands.
Yeah, I mean they probably had my guy Keith or my guy Christian. They are filming and then putting the radio calls on it, but probably because it was an away game, they weren't streaming it on Padres TV.
Correct.
So good job by the Padres getting the video out, doing the best they can, and having a live audio broadcast. But you're right. I guess we had no way to watch it anyway. So I guess it really didn't miss much. But by the box score, Matt Waldron apparently was very, very good today. So
3 innings, only gave up a hit, 1 walk, 2 Ks. Robert Suarez, 1 inning, 1 hit, 2 Ks. Jeremiah Estrada, 1 inning, 1 K, no hits, no walks. Johnny Brito struggled today, 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run. His first inning was the problem inning, and then he was able to get out of things in the second inning. Other news, Fernando Tatis Jr. is supposed to make his Cactus League debut tomorrow, and it looks like most of the Padres regulars in the starting lineup are going to be in the game. Also, Dylan Cease is going to make his first spring start on Saturday. I just saw something about Forrest Wall. Give Wall a chance. Not these washed up Connor Joe and Jason Hayward. First off, Connor Joe is not washed up. He is very young, and he's going to be a good player for this team this year. And Jason Hayward, I just got to see what happens. I mean, he's a good leader. I don't know what he's going to do defensively, offensively for the Padres this year. But maybe Forrest Wall.
I mean, let's look. Again, you take all spring training stuff with a grain of salt. Very, very cool for Forrest Wall that he's having a really nice start to spring. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. Hey, it's not crazy that a guy like him could come in and steal a bench spot on opening day. I think he would really have to turn heads, which is what he's done so far. But again, we very, very often see guys do very well at spring training. And even if they do make a roster, it's not for long, and you don't get that same kind of production off the bench once the year starts. So let's see what happens. But good for him. Look, the way I view it, and the way I think the Padres and Mike Schultz view it. Look, they want real competition. They want guys to play well. They want the decisions to be hard. So I'm sure they're thrilled by the start Forrest Wall has had to his spring training. He's interesting. Look, I'll be honest with you. I haven't talked to him yet, as far as more than a hello, and it'll be on my list because, sometimes that happens during spring training over the course of 6.5 weeks where, there are a lot of guys inside that clubhouse, and sometimes, you don't really get to talk to somebody until they do some stuff, and then you're like, I should go find out more about that guy. And, has had a couple of cups of coffee in the major leagues. He's been around a long time. He's been playing pro ball since 2014. He was the 35th overall pick in the 2014 draft by Colorado. So he's been around pro ball a long time, and we'll see. Obviously has some talent.
Did you say 2014?
2014. Yeah.
Wow.
He is 29.
I have a whole
at high school.
I have a whole new level of respect for guys who are able to chase their dreams for as long as some guys do, because it's not easy playing in the minor leagues, and it's not easy being right there, I guess. Like, what do they call them? 4A players? Is that what they call them? The guys that are too good for AAA and not good enough for the major leagues? 4A? Is that? I don't know. Maybe they do or they don't.
Yeah, quadruple A, 4A, sure.
Okay. Tyler Wade went 1 for 2 today with an RBI, so there you go. Tyler Wade is a very good dude, and he's very important for this team. Very important for this team. I didn't realize that he was this close.
Have you played my interview with Tyler Wade?
I have not. I have not played the interview with Tyler Wade.
There you go. You should sometime.
Okay.
Although Ben Woods had a good interview with him as well. I'm looking a little bit deeper into Forrest Wall. I want to see, did he get traded to... Yeah, got traded in 2018.
Where? He was with the Orioles at one point, I think.
Well, he was originally with the Rockies, so how did he get traded back? Confused.
I don't know.
Oh, no. Blue Jays traded for him in 2018 from the Rockies. And then he eventually ended up with a few different organizations from there. So he's bounced around quite a bit.
Yeah. Leo Dallas DeVries. Is it Leo Dallas or Leo Dallas? I always pronounce
Leo. He likes Leo.
He just likes Leo.
Just likes Leo. Call him Leo.
Oh, thank goodness. That is way easier for me because I can't pronounce that last part of the name. But
just Leo.
Leo DeVries.
LDV.
He turned some heads with some good at-bats this spring, but he went 0 for 3 today. Now, obviously, this is not a big deal. He is not going to be on the major league team most likely this year. Give the kid some time, I say.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
You give the kid some time too, Sam. Brandon Lockridge. What do you think about Brandon Lockridge? Because last year he came in, he was a late trade by the Padres from the Yankees, and he was kind of like a base running specialist, but he's struggled so far this spring training.
Yeah, look, he's got a shot. I mean, like anybody, he's got a shot. Obviously has a lot of speed, has the ability to play multiple outfield spots, which is good. He's got a shot. It's a crowded competition when you talk about the outfielders, whether it be Eggy, who can play out there, and I think Eggy's got a real shot to make this team because of his ability to hit, his ability to hit left-handed pitching, some of the improvement he's shown during spring training, and also, his versatility defensively if he can play some left, and he's somebody obviously who can play the infield. Eggy, Tirso Ornelas, who were you just mentioning? I'm blanking. My brain is not working.
Brandon Lockridge.
Brandon Lockridge. Yeah, look, he's got a shot. He's going to get opportunity to play, and he brings speed. Obviously, brings some nice defense. So, yeah, he's in the mix in my mind for sure.
All right. I'm just looking at some of the Tirso stats. He was in the game today. He went 0 for 2, but he's still hitting a hot 417, and he has an OPS of like 1.4. I know it's spring training, but that's the way you make a team, is with numbers like that in spring training. I feel like if you
look, there are, and by the way, there are way more names than we even mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Just then. I mean, Oscar Gonzalez is having a really nice start this spring. Mike Brasso can play some outfield. Jonathan Perlaza is there. I mean, there are just a lot of names in the mix. So, to me, the way Eggy's played so far, and this is just my opinion, the way Eggy's played so far, I think Eggy's in a really, really good spot, which would leave essentially one remaining bench spot. So that would be sort of the question, is who would take that other spot. To me, I'm not saying Eggy's a guarantee, but I think if he continues to do sort of what he's done so far, I think Eggy will be in a very, very good position. But
yeah, if
I think they view it as open competition.
If you're going to be in that bench spot, you're going to have to play multiple positions. It's just a fact. You're not going to be able to go in there and just play the outfield. Eggy can play infield and outfield. Tyler Wade basically plays every single place on the field. Luis Arias played today, went 0 for 2. So batting title in the spring training, kind of going down the tubes right now. Do they have a Cactus League batting champion?
Well, it's whoever technically leads the Cactus League in batting average, sure.
Okay. Sean is asking us on the chat, will you boys be at the SDFC inaugural opener on Saturday? Well, Sam is in Arizona.
You will.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Adam Klug. And we
do you guys have seats or are you sitting in the press box?
No idea.
What do you mean you have no idea?
I don't know if we're sitting. I don't think we have seats. I think we're in the press box for sure. But I haven't received any information on how I'm going to get there. All right, Tony Gwynn Jr. is getting in place, Sam. So this is probably your last segment with us. Let's bring up Tony real quick.
This is probably it for me this week. I'm done. Clocking out. I'll talk to you on Monday.
I'm gonna cry. Oh, Sam was so great to us this week. Tony, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Sam and I have just been going for 3 hours like crazy. So how was the game today? Everything good?
Yeah, the game was fine. It was uneventful for the most part. Padres got a good start from Matt Waldron. You guys probably discussed this already. Got away from Meridian.
Yeah, it did. All right. Well, I didn't know what I was going to accomplish by bringing you on just for like 2 minutes, but I guess that's what we're going to do. So I apologize about that. We'll
Well, I will say it is interesting, Tony, because we were talking about it. There was no video stream available anywhere. So you truly today on the radio, you were the eyes and ears of the audience.
We tried to be. We tried to be the eyes and ears for our esteemed listeners, but yeah.
Was the knuckleball dancing today?
It was knuckling today.
Okay.
The knuckler was knuckling. Diaz had a clean first 2 innings, and then the knuckle started dancing on him, and there was about 3-4 and straight that he boxed up that he never actually got. He got leather on. He didn't actually catch him. But
here's the most important question.
The thing that it was most interesting was, last year we were asking a lot. We were asking Kyle. We were asking, obviously, Campy, and this knuckleball glove that they make. They had them, but it take a long time to break in. It was fun. It was interesting to watch Elias have one on today. It's like a combination of the first baseman's glove and the catcher's glove, but you could tell that it's much bigger. And it was interesting to see that glove out there for him. Last year, the catchers only used the standard catching glove.
Right. Interesting. How was the drive back?
Terrible.
Terrible.
Absolutely horrendous.
I'm sorry to hear that. Phoenix traffic doesn't seem like it should be bad, but it's awful.
It's all the way. I mean, this is the farthest. This is the farthest that Padres play. I mean, it's literally on the exact opposite side of town. And so, it's already a 50-minute drive anyway from here. Add, the rush hour traffic. There you go.
Ugh, I hate that already.
What I typically do when they have the games like on the other side of Phoenix, more towards Scottsdale or Mesa or Tempe, I typically stick around there, get dinner out there, and then make a later drive.
I would have loved to have done that. But I was trying to be a good teammate, get back and share my voice as best I could,
And we appreciate you for that, because I'm done with Sam.
I came on the back. I appreciate you, Sam, because you didn't leave Skraby hanging. You've been on here the whole time. And you said that earlier today when I talked to you about it, but kudos to you, man.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sam, for the last couple of days. Last 3 days. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. We did our best, So here's the thing, Tony. Skraby and I get a little goofy, when we're left to our own devices.
Yes.
when we're left to our own devices.
Yes.
Like our dating advice segment yesterday, just going off the rails. If you were there's some segments where if you're a sports fan, it's just.
We had a Love is Blind segment.
Sorry.
Just a hang with him segment, huh?
Yeah.
But also, let me be clear. I am not, I'm not the leader here. I totally leave the entire show planning to Matt Skraby. So whatever direction he wants to go, I go.
I know my partner pretty well. This dude probably drags you out into those segments, and it's effortless for him. He doesn't even know he's doing it most of the time.
It's true.
Well, even yesterday, he said we're going to do sport court, and I said okay. And then he just starts talking about dating questions.
Well,
I'm
I
like,
told
wait,
you.
these don't have anything to do with sports.
You know,
he's like,
you know,
no. I'm
what's,
like,
you know,
well,
you know what's so hilarious about this? I wish Chris was here right now to hear this. This guy has been on Chris's head for, I don't know, years of staying on, task and staying on what we talked about and not going on. And as soon as he gets a chance, here he is just kind of making his own path outside of what he told you were going to talk about. I can't wait to tell Chris about this.
You know what? It's a little bit different in this chair.
Oh, yeah, I see. Is that right?
It's a little bit different in this
right?
chair. There's a little bit more going on in my brain in this chair over here. I will say that Sam really filled in well for the Chris Ello part. Sam didn't check the doc once today, so and he admitted it to everyone too. He was like,
it was right at home, huh?
Right at home.
Yes.
I felt that home.
So what happened was, and maybe you can ask Tony about this story because he would be a good person to ask about it as a former player. We were talking about the minor league catcher who gave away the pitches, right? And they wrote this whole story in The Athletic about it. And Skraby starts talking about it. And I was like, oh, well, I haven't read the article. I guess during the break, I'll read this whole article because I'm kind of flying blind here a little bit. And Skraby goes, oh, it was on the document. I said, well, I didn't read the document. I was like, you're just sending me emails with a Google Doc. I said, I didn't even look at the document. So
I mean,
So
what
I
is
filled
the
the role of
point of
Chris
the
today.
document if no one's going to look at the document? Tony looks at the document.
This is the Skraby. Skraby's the pilot here. I just follow
you're the
his
co-pilot.
lead.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
It's his show. It's it's his show when you guys aren't here. It's his show.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. Sammy Levitt for joining us here today and the last couple days. Tony and I will briefly talk about the catcher on the other side, and then we're going to hear from Manny Machado with Ben Woods at the end of the show. So here's some traffic, and goodbye, Sam. Thank you very much. It is time.
Bye. See you tomorrow, Tony.
For you to go to dinner.
See you, sir.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injuries.
5:23 on the clock here in San Diego, 6:23 on the clock in Arizona, where Tony Gwynn Jr. is. We are coming to the end of the show, but we still got 2 more segments to go. We're going to talk about Derek Bender, which we did talk about earlier, and it was, kind of interesting to see all of this go down. Now, Tony, do you remember when we originally talked about this last year?
Yes.
Okay, so basically the story is this minor league catcher for the Fort Myers Mighty Muscles on September 6th, he was accused of tipping the pitches to the hitters during the game, and there was also some chatter around him, leading up to that around the team, saying that he was joking prior to double headers, saying that it wouldn't be a bad thing if they let a grounder slip under their gloves. And I remember you immediately saying when we first talked about this, that this guy and the guys that are playing in this league are probably coming off of playing a ton of baseball, and he was extremely tired, which he did admit. But what they went and caught up with him for an interview. He said, the interviewer asked, well, you were accused of giving away pitches as they were coming up to bat. Did that happen? Bender said no with a chuckle, and I'll live with this until the day I die. I never gave pitches away. I never tried to give the opposing team an advantage against my own team, end quote. The reason it was found out, the opposing manager told the manager of the Fort Myers team after the game, and they talked to Derek about that. But bottom line, Tony, how hard is it for this guy to get back into a clubhouse and have people trust him?
I think it'll be hard initially. This isn't the first time this happened, by the way. I played against a guy. I won't say his name, but I played against a guy that was accused of giving his fellow countrymen, he spoke Spanish, tell him what was coming. He was in the Padres organization way back when. But he ended up getting back to the league and playing some years in the league. So, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time this happened. Now, this guy is denying it at this point. Sounds like he hasn't actually, there's this out of the 5-game set that they played, this was the one game that wasn't televised.
Yeah, which doesn't,
so
he must have known that if he did,
I don't know if he knew that or not. I'm not even gonna give him that kind of credit, right? Because I mean, clearly he got caught doing this in the first place, according to some people who were close to it. So I don't know, man. This is it's a bad look. It's one thing because listen, he wouldn't be the first minor leaguer that is coming off of a college season to talk like that. But it's one thing to say that, and then a completely other thing to try to execute that, because that means now you're not actually trying. You're sabotaging your own game.
Yeah.
Which I don't know anybody that would be okay with that. Like, it's one thing to be like, man, it wouldn't be a bad thing if we lost this game, we get to go home, and then go into the game and purposely swing and miss. That's a whole different thing than actually verbalizing it.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like he's well liked by people around him, because he says Derek Bender will send a text to one of his former teammates, or he'll call and leave a voicemail, but no one has called him back. No one has texted him back, and he's been left on red by everyone.
Listen, I'll say this: there have been teammates in the past that I've played with that weren't well liked, but no one was going to actually, because they were considered harmless, right? No one is going to like go out of their way to be a jerk. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's when he's not around, when that person's not around, it's like, oh my God, this dude's wearing me out, or something along those lines, right? But there are very few teammates that just won't like. I play with a few that, like, if you were that dude, he would let you know. They would let you know that you were that dude and constantly be on you about it. But for the most part, that's not the norm. The norm is you kind of deal with it, you ignore it, whatever the case may be. If he's helping you win games, you kind of just get past it. But there are definitely dudes that weren't with it, that would let you know if you were that way.
That's kind of crazy to me, honestly. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
What is it you can't believe?
That guys have this mindset. I understand that when you get tired, your mind goes into crazy places, but to actually act it out is the thing that's crazy.
That is crazy for sure.
All right, that was the story on Derek Bender. Now, Manny Machado was on with the morning show today, so we are going to hear from Manny Machado, and we also are going to give you the biggest fan name. So everybody stick around on the other side of the break, the biggest fan name and Manny Machado.
On Friday's show, the latest from spring training with Sam Levitt. Sal.
Congratulations to today's biggest fan, Jerry Gould, or Gould. Jerry Gould of San Diego. Give us a call back within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game later this season. Remember to register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan. Jerry Gould. 10 minutes starts now. We are about to hear from Manny Machado this morning with Ben and Woods. But Tony, what's going on? Let's talk. How's life? I don't feel like we've talked lately.
We talk every day. What are you talking about?
I mean, we talk about baseball every day. We don't talk about life every day. Anything
Oh,
going
well,
on?
I can tell you what's up. Shout out to the Mount Carmel girls soccer team headed to a CIF final Saturday. They'll
Very
take
nice.
on Patrick Henry in a Division I matchup. Should be some fun. I won't get to see it, but
That is a bummer. That is a bummer.
it is a bummer.
But
Yeah,
are they
for sure. But,
or not televising it, but are they airing it
they're
somewhere?
streaming it. Yeah,
Streaming
they're
it.
streaming it. So I will be checking in. Hopefully, we play a day game. So I don't know where we are, if it's a home game or if it's a road game. I gotta go one game at a time, Scrape. I can't get too far.
What
down
day
the
is
schedule.
this?
I don't know. I just
Oh.
know that tomorrow's Friday. I do know tomorrow's Friday.
No, I'm saying the game. When is the game?
Saturday.
Saturday. Okay.
Saturday, 4 p.m.
Saturday at 4 p.m. Let's go check it out because I think people. Oh, it's actually, I just saw on our Padres production schedule that the broadcast start time on Saturday is noon. So you might be able to make it.
Well, noon your time.
Time.
I should be able to make it. So that's 5 my time here. So yeah.
These games have been going pretty fast for the most part.
Yeah, no, we had a couple clunkers there, like 240 something, but I think we had a 250 joint too. But outside of that, it's been relatively, 234, 228 today, 225.
Exactly where you want it.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of the big name play. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I thought you were going to say
my
something.
phone.
A lot of the big name players played today around baseball. I know Bobby Witt Jr. hit a home run. I know that Paul Goldschmidt was doing some good things for the Yankees the other day. I didn't even know that. Oh, the Rockies beat the Dodgers today, Tony, 2-0.
Who cares?
You know who took the
Dodgers-
L?
Who took
Kirby
the L?
Yates took the L.
Well, it's all over for Kirby. He got the L in spring training. Here's what you should care about.
Okay.
Tomorrow is a night game.
Okay.
Most of the regulars, if not all of the regulars, will be in, including Fernando Tatis Jr.
Love that.
So there you go.
And then Dylan Cease is starting on Saturday, supposedly rumored. So,
well, I mean, he'd be the first of the front four in the rotation. We haven't seen any of those guys. All the pitching has been, on the outside, really the 5th spot and beyond.
Yeah, that's true. No Pivetta, no King, no Cease, no Darv. But we'll see him tomorrow night. I don't know who's pitching tomorrow night, but I know Dylan Cease is slated for Saturday for sure. All right. Ben and Woods, they are out at spring training. They have one more day tomorrow, and they sat down with a ton of Padres stars today. Michael King, Jackson Merrill, but Manny Machado, I was told by our boss Adam, this was a very good interview. He talks about SDFC, talks about his off season. So we're gonna go to traffic, and then Ben and Woods with Manny Machado.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danek.
Got a crash involving 5 or 6 vehicles blocking middle lane south on 15 before the 163. Have fun there. Also, stall vehicle on eastbound 8 near Waring Road. It's got the slow lane blocked. Another stall reported on the Friars Road off-ramp. Notes on 15, eastbound King Freeway, right before Kelton. Stalled car in the fast lane. In a Lateran Lanes award goes to northbound 805 before Balboa. Looks like that is in the 2 left lanes. I'm Kelly Danek with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Manny Machado of the San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
What's here on
What's up, guys?
97.3 The Fan? Hi, Manny. How are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Yeah.
So
How
You
excited
guys brought
were
the
you?
cold over here, huh?
I guess. Like it's
God,
all
it was
windy.
nice. It was nice and hot.
It was
Now it's
hot.
cold.
You like it hotter out here?
Nah, I like it like this.
Like this.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
it sucks all the moisture out of you. This place, Arizona, does every time.
It's
tough,
It's
dude.
tough.
It's
Imagine
tough.
being here 6 weeks.
I can't do it. You and Sammy Lev, and those are the guys that are here the longest, man. So you look great, man. You're feeling great. The health is good. Family's good.
Everyone's good.
How's the baby boy?
He's awesome.
Is
man.
he?
He's awesome.
Getting
Growing.
old?
Great. Keep getting old. Almost a year.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Time flies.
Awesome.
Getting
into the
routine. There's a lot of routine
when it comes to being a
parent. Yeah, it's tough, because it's the routine between his life. Obviously it's changing, and then not getting into season now. It's a whole completely different animal. Going to the games at night or night games and naps during the day, and
that's you or him.
Both. Both. When he naps, I nap.
That's the rule. I told you that rule last year.
Absolutely.
When he naps, you nap.
Absolutely.
I try to do it now. Mine are 7 and 4, and they don't nap much anymore. But my wife's like, "But you're still napping in the middle of the day, and that's a problem."
Hey, you got to take it in.
That's right.
You got to get your 30 minutes in.
Got to.
But for me, it's like 2 hours. So.
I know. I'm with you 100%. A lot's been made of it, and I know you've talked about it already this year, but coming into camp, well, and having an off season where you could go lift and do all the things that you need to do to get your body ready for a long season. We know how important it is to be on the field. What a load off for you this year. No surgery, no nothing. Just can go and lift and get strong and hit bombs.
Yeah, man, it was fun. It was fun, honestly. It's a grind, because obviously with the rehab and, you have to do so much, just for your arm that you kind of sometimes don't even have time to, get your body going. And then on top of that, there's a lot of things I couldn't do last year because of my elbow, right? I couldn't squat, I couldn't load up anything. I couldn't really grip. So, because I'm obviously trying to get the strength back. So there's a lot of things that I had to kind of change, but a lot of good that I learned from that as well, that I kind of incorporated into my workout this year and kind of got better at, that I wasn't really as good with the flexibility side of some lifts. So yeah, man, just having an off season was a normal off season was pretty nice to have.
I know spring training results mean less than nothing, but first pitch home run last
how about that?
Yeah, I'm getting back to my old self. Nah, I'm swinging. I hack, bro. I don't take. They don't pay me to walk.
I don't even know who the pitcher was.
I don't remember.
Sorry, like you're gonna let me get one over just before you're gonna take.
He
one
told
over
me, he's like, I saw him after walking off the field. He's like, "Come on, man, I'm trying to make a team over here. You already made it, so let me get one." Yeah, trying to be back.
I remember getting into a debate with somebody online, shocker, last year, and man, he needs to see more pitches, and I'm like, bro. I pulled your numbers on the first pitch, and they're pretty nasty. I mean, you go up there and hunt and looking for something to drive. We've never actually sat and talked hitting with you, and I love to watch you hit. And I watch it, and you don't tinker much. You're not a big tinkerer. Like, you kind of stick with what got you here, I would imagine. But so what do you work on? Like, when you go talk to Victor and stuff, and you guys are working in the cages in season, before the season, during the season, what are you doing in there?
All right, so so last year, I don't tinker a lot, right? I stick to what my strength is, and it's to swing, right? When I chase a little bit. I've gotten better over the years without chasing. My numbers, my walk numbers have gone up a little bit over the years. I think that's just more mental side of things, right? Of you just kind of getting smarter, knowing what the pitchers are doing to you, right? But as a mechanical side of things, I kind of stick with my strengths, right? Staying inside the ball, hitting the ball to right field, line drives, let the ball, have high extension at the end. Last year with my swing, I kind of had to kind of change a lot of things. My elbow wasn't allowing me to get into the slot I wanted to get into, which was previously from the previous injury from the years prior was the same thing happening to me. I was kind of going around the baseballs, couldn't really stay inside the ball. I couldn't really, get into the slot that I wanted to. So everything was kind of coming around, and the same thing happened last year when the season started. So me, Vic and Bert kind of like, we kind of just sat down and kind of like try to reinvent the wheel a little bit and try to just see what worked. We're middle of the season, so you can't really hold on, I'm going to stop and take a 2-week vacation. No, you got to kind of just trying to figure it out on the fly. And, we kind of tweaked a couple things and kind of just ended up working for me. And now that I had a good off season,
got back to my roots, using my one hand bat that I couldn't use prior just because of the strength and the elbow purpose. But now I'm able to get back into my slot. I'm in a better slot position. I'm able to create those angles that I wanted to with my barrel and kind of be my old self.
Yeah, you're being honest with us right now, which you wouldn't have been last year when we asked you how you're feeling. You would have said, I'm fine. I'm doing fine, because you don't talk about injuries. You don't like talking about injuries, but clearly they have an impact on everybody in the game. And it makes a difference going into the season, obviously, for you like this, feeling healthy, like not like you did last year, recovering from the surgery.
Yeah, it feels good, man. Like getting back to, being able to stay inside the ball well, and my elbow being able to do things that I wasn't able to do before. I mean, it still hurts every once in a while. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's part of it, but I mean, your whole body hurts at this point. I'm in spring training 2 weeks in, my body hurts, my joints are already aching, and but that's just part of the grind, man. I think that's the beauty of baseball, and why I love it so much. It's just the aches and pains that this game.
You're gonna love your 40s then.
But,
you're gonna love your 40s.
Yeah.
It's the best.
32s are not feeling great so far.
32.
So I got 9 more left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, why anybody ever throws you a fastball in the inner part of the plate is beyond me, but it does happen.
It's crazy you brought that up, right? Because it's like I was looking at it the other day. I'm like, man, how, like the first couple lives that we had against our pitchers, I'm like taking, right? And I'm like 0-2 right off the gate. I'm like, God, like what's going on? Like 0-2, boom. Then it's next pitch, slider down. I take it. I'm like, all right, that's for sure a ball. The guys in the back, obviously, all pitchers behind the net.
Of course.
They have the freaking little iPad, and they're like, yeah, it's a strike. I'm like, here you go.
That's out. 3 pitches.
I'm like, I couldn't even get a swing out. So after that, I'm like, man, I got to the third time. I'm like, I had like 7 at bats. I had like 5 punchies, all looking, and I'm like, forget that.
I'm not doing
I'm
this.
Swinging.
I'm swinging.
I'm swinging.
That's
who I am.
It is who you are. And you go back and you look at your numbers every year and you talk about 30 and 100, 30 and 100, 30 and 100, 30 and 100. And I was looking at him this morning and I'm like, the dude you can almost take it to the bank. So for you, I think the most you hit in the season, 37. And again, I know you're not up there looking to hit a bomb. You're looking to hit those gaps. You're looking, that right center gap is where, that's when you're going right center, everyone knows, oh God, he's locked in. Like he's locked in. He's going to be locked in for a couple weeks. For you, do you look at things like that and go, 30's great, but 40,
yeah, absolutely.
32.
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely want to hit that number.
Yeah.
It's a number I never hit. So yeah, for sure. I mean, that's on my radar, kind of want to go back and win a Gold Glove again. It's been a while since I won one. So
which is ridiculous in its own right.
Yeah. I mean, it's politics in this world. But I mean, it's a good number. It's a big number. Petco's a little harder to do it in our division. It's a big ballpark, so I think you got to give and take, but I mean, it's doable for sure.
But we politicked hard for Jackson Merrill and Mike Schill. The best we can do is get you the runner-up, I think, Gold Glove Award, apparently.
Yeah, we did. I mean, my God.
We'll try as best as we can. I want to ask you talked about, facing your own pitchers during spring training. At the end of the day, they're your teammates. You want success for them. But here you're kind of going up against them. We saw Nick Pivetta and Fernando Tatis Jr. going at it yesterday. Oh. What's it like when you're going up against your own guys and trying to, because you got some really good pitchers on this squad.
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean, it's fun, man. It's a friendly competition, right? I mean, it's something that we could get back and pushing each other on things. There's a lot of feedback that goes into these. We kind of give them feedback on like, hey, how this pitch is doing this pitch is doing that. They're also testing out pitches, so there's a lot of feedback we could give them. But at the end of the day, some bragging rights go. That kind of stays the whole year. You could always go back to that bomb that you hit off some guys.
We got a few
or
more,
the punchies.
Got a few more questions for Manny, including about the big win for his soccer team on Saturday. We got to pause 10 seconds for station identification here. It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
KWFM. An Odyssey Sports Station.
So, Manny, obviously you're busy at work getting ready for the season here in San Diego. Did you get a chance to watch, though?
Absolutely.
SDFC on Saturday.
Absolutely.
What an unbelievable, or Sunday, what an unbelievable debut.
Absolutely. It was a great win, great first win. And to do it in LA with the defending champs, even better.
Crazy.
Huh?
Crazy.
That was
never
insane.
So were you a big soccer fan your whole life, or was this just something like an opportunity?
Actually, when I got into pro balls, when I kind of got into soccer, I wasn't a big soccer fan growing up. I couldn't play soccer and I didn't really know much about it. And then pro ball you start learning about Madrid, Barcelona, became a Barcelona fan with Messi and just started watching soccer there. And then, fast forward now, part owner of a soccer team in San Diego and being, part of a franchise that's going to bring a lot of championships, hopefully, to the city. And, 2 franchises, not just one, but, it'll be fun, man. And honestly, from that game, what I got the most was, you see how many fans went up there, man.
Crazy.
I mean, people always say that we're not San Diegans aren't loyal fans, and we went up there and showed out. They show out for baseball, and they're showing out for soccer as well.
We've asked a lot of the guys about it. The way that it ended last year was it was just so out of character for the team, and you really can't go into the offseason and go, well, we're not going to go 24 scoreless innings again, because it very well could happen. I mean, it could happen to start the season. You just don't know with this game. How hard was that for you guys to deal with, and how long did it take you to kind of get it out of your mind once it was over?
Yeah, it sucked. You look up. In the moment, you don't even know you're going through that drought, right? Until after, where they talk about, they went, so and so innings without scoring. I mean, it was tough. It was tough. I mean, they came out. I don't know what happened. They came out and they showed out, man, and they pitched really well. And we couldn't do it. I mean, we're trying everything. I mean, we had scouting reports. We had, we knew exactly what they were doing. It was just they were executing, and we just couldn't get one across. And that's baseball sometimes, right? Does this thing? Obviously, it stings. I mean, of course it's going to. But yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you kind of. You kind of look at the good and the bad out of that series, look at the good of the bad out of the whole year, and then you kind of regroup and start strategizing for the next year and how we can get better. And, obviously with Schulte bringing in new staff, with the players that we have around, we're going to continue to thrive, to get better at. There was a lot of things that we could have won the division last year easily. We lost it by 3-4 games. And there was 3 or 4 games that we did not play well throughout the year that we can get better at. And that's what we're working on now, is just the little things that we can get better at to not let that happen and, hopefully take a division.
A lot of the Dodgers players, a lot of them have said this offseason, that was the real World Series against the Padres. We thought they were the better team going into it. It kind of drives him crazy when we've talked about it. It's respectful, obviously.
It is.
I mean, I'm sure you probably heard some of those comments. What was your reaction when you hear those guys say that?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely. I think it was a World Series all year. I mean, we're going back and forth the whole year. And then obviously that series was awesome. I mean, it was it was 2 big teams going right back at each other. We clapped, and then they clapped back, and then we clapped again. They clapped back, and then they had the last clap. And that's the beauty of sports, man. That's how it happens. And yeah, man, it was definitely it was definitely a different vibe. I would say it was definitely a different vibe. It wasn't the vibe like we had a couple years before, prior. Even the championship series when we played against Philly, it wasn't the same. That was definitely for us, for sure. It was a World Series. We're playing it like it was a World Series, and we ended up falling short.
Well, Manny, I appreciate it. There may be a race now for that ring in San Diego, though, with SDNC.
I will say, first home game coming up Saturday.
Yeah.
I'll be there. So all you fans that supported us in LA and supported us in San Diego.
You're going. Nice.
Absolutely, I'm going. Absolutely, I'm going.
Nice.
A little quick show out. So I'll be out there and come out there and support the fans.
Awesome, man.
Manny,
Thank you,
it's
as usual.
Great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Manny Machado, Padres third baseman.
That was interesting at the end when they asked him about how he felt when the Dodgers were kind of saying after the season that the Padres were the team to beat and all this other stuff. And I kind of had the same reaction I guess Woods did, which was like, okay, it's easy to say that after you beat a team and you win the World Series, but like, you're not going to say that if the Padres, I don't know. It seems a little, and I don't think it actually is, but to me, it seems a little backhanded to say that after the fact, like, oh, they were the best team we played the whole time in the playoffs. It's like, okay, yeah, well, it's easy to say that. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm just taking it a little too far here. with what Manny Machado, or I'm sorry, with what Woods and Ben were asking him. Woods and Ben, that sounds weird. Ben and Woods. All right, there is no Skraby show tonight. I have some stuff I need to take care of, so I'm sorry about that. We will be back tomorrow. Chris is going to be back tomorrow, and we're going to actually lead you up into the first game, or not the first night game of the year. Maybe it is the first night game of the year. Well, the Padres are going to be playing tomorrow night on the station, and it starts at 5:30, so we'll lead you up to that. But other than that, I hope everybody has a great night. It was actually very windy today, so make sure you tie things down because you never know what's going to blow away. And with that, I will stop giving you tips on the weather, and I will go and do what I got to do. Thank you to everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Sammy Love, for joining us this week. Thank you to Tony. All of the above. Talk to you all tomorrow. Ben and Woods, 6 a.m. from Peoria on 97.3 The Fan. Good night.